interesting topics.
All right.
Hey, look at that.
I'm looking, I'm like, where are you?
Where's the camera? There. So, as we were saying, Hannah's a huge crypto bro.
Mm-hmm, we were saying that.
Right.
And that plays right into today's YouTube poll, which is, Hannah?
Do you or will you trade in cryptocurrency?
Nailed it.
I will trade Ryan Wiggins
Or some cryptocurrency.
Crypto coin.
for Brittany Griner.
I was going to say, I'd trade him for the Merchant of Death.
Wow. Really?
I wouldn't do that.
You'd be sending me and the Merchant of Death to Russia? That does not sound like a fair
No,
trade
we
at
get
all.
the Merchant of Death and Brittany Griner.
Oh, back.
And Russia gets you somehow. I'm not sure.
Oh, goody.
It's like
Maybe
it's
you could fix Russia.
It's like a preemptive strike, Ryan. We're just sending you over.
You sit
Just like we're doing in Illinois.
Ryan
Tip of the
Wiggins
spear.
down with Vladimir Putin, and I bet you something would happen.
Okay, moving on past the poll question at 12:05, right at the top of the show, Jason Chaffetz is going to join us. Super excited about that.
I'm looking forward to hearing Annie pronounce his name.
Jason Chaffetz.
Yes.
Jason
That's 1
Chaffetz.
for 1. 2 for 2.
Jason Chaffetz.
3 for 3.
Face and Chaffetz.
Oh! She's batting 750.
All right.
Still a pretty good average.
That's still impressive.
105, Jim Carafano. 125, Mike Davis, the founder and president of the Article 3 Project, will join us. He's been with us before. Can't wait to have him back.
Brandon Cranston. Russia would give Wiggins back within the week. I love meeting you people. Now I can put a face to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You look like
Now it's personal.
Brandon, yeah, Vicky, you two. Actually, tomorrow. Why don't you, anybody who we've not met or you have, come out tomorrow and we'll hang out
Yeah.
Yes.
at Ruler in
Ruler
St. Charles.
Foods.
Yeah, but if Russia would give Wiggins back within a week, that would be a good move
That'd
because
be a
then
win.
then I would have the Merchant of Death and Brittany Griner, and then somebody else in America would have you.
At the end of the day, everybody is back where they should be.
They would, you know what they do? They'd make you a special agent.
I get
So
traded
every
back.
time we need somebody, because there's like 60 or 70 other people who are being detained right now by adversary countries.
Mhm.
We just keep sending you to all of the countries.
Oh, yeah, and then I just talk to the leader for like a couple hours and they're like, hey, you know what?
You could
Why
become
don't you
very
take it back?
wealthy.
Here's
it
a
back.
I
plan.
don't really know how I
Go
make
on.
money in this, but I am freeing a lot of
How
prisoners.
about we trade you to the WNBA for Brittany Griner?
I'd do that. You ever seen the movie Ladybugs?
Yeah. I don't think you can make that movie anymore.
Well, we can always try. We don't know.
You'll have the diamond shop in 30 seconds.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
big show.
Did you mention Mike Davis?
Yeah.
Hour number 2? Okay.
Sweet. Yeah, this is a
So
big
glad
show.
you guys are listening.
It's a really big show.
We were just thinking about you being a crypto bro.
Yep.
Buy the dip, right, Hannah?
Right.
Not now. Go play the next one, because
Yeah.
after this one, okay.
Yeah.
I had to move these because I didn't want them to be in the background of my video.
Okay, 4 seconds.
Looking to buy jewelry this holiday season or just something nice, maybe a watch? Have you checked out the... This is so beautiful to walk in. You just feel fancy when you're at the diamond shop. But the great thing about it is you get that experience, but you're going to get the respect and the time of the people who are in charge of the diamond shop to educate you on what you're looking for, to help guide you through that process. I'm not somebody who can walk into a jewelry store and know all the unique differences between different kinds of cuts and shines and all that stuff. You go to the diamond shop and they can help you with that whole process. Make sure that you go to visit their store at Clayton. They've been there since 1910. And these are the greatest people ever. They make you feel at home. You can become a VIP online at thediamondshop.net. That's thediamondshop.net. And I want you to understand that if you need a family jeweler, if you need somebody who you can trust sending other people to, they're going to respect you through this entire process. And you're going to be back. You're going to become an ambassador for the Diamond Shop as well. Visit them online at thediamondshop.net.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
sake, Sid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome to the Annie Frey Show. So happy to be with you today. We are excited to bring on our next guest here. And before we do, I want to play a little clip here from Kevin McCarthy.
I've been leader for 4 years, and for those 2 election cycles, we've only gained seats. Our goal this year was to stop the Biden agenda, win the majority, and fire Nancy Pelosi. We achieved all those. When you look at the Republicans in the Senate, the governors and others, they all lost during these cycles. We are the only branch that can stop what has been going on for so long.
Well, we've been talking about that leading into the midterms, and since then, the Republicans secured that majority in the House. It is an incredible roadblock for the Biden agenda. But what happens next? How are they to be effective? Well, we speak to somebody who served in the Congress as well as in leadership, and Jason Chaffetz is here to discuss that with us. He's a Fox News contributor, former congressman, and he's host of the Jason in the House podcast. Jason, welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Great to have you here.
Hey, Annie, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So you served on committees. You were able to kind of be in the know when it comes to how a majority works in Congress, and you've studied, of course, how a minority works in Congress. The Republicans now take the House. What are you hoping to see from a practical standpoint about maybe the next 2 years?
So the first thing is to get through and make sure no massive omnibus or continuing resolution gets through. That's very difficult because Democrats still have the reign of power until January 3rd. And so job one is to put a wrench in that and stop it, because they can use the appropriations process and spend all the money all through next year. And Republicans are just kind of left waiting for the calendar to click into 2024, which would be awful. After, though, once they do take the gavel, the hardest thing is going to be the small margin, getting everybody on the same page. There aren't the same bludgeoning tools that there have been in the past in order to get united and on a particular bills. Funding, debt limit, are they going to pursue a balanced budget? All of these things need to be out there. The number one tool I think they do have where they can make the most inroads is exposing the corruption that's going on and the abuse of power that's happening within this Biden-Harris administration. And you do that through vigorous oversight through all the committees, and including the one I used to chair, the Oversight Committee.
We're speaking with Jason Chaffetz, and your experience of that Oversight Committee, I want to know a little bit more about that, because in the broad audience that we speak to, we have people who are on the spectrum of politics, across the board. We have people who listen to us from the left, from the right, and certainly from the very, very disenchanted and frustrated center who feel maybe a little politically homeless these days.
Right.
And a lot of that investigation, oversight, conversation very quickly looks, just on the surface, if people aren't willing to go past just the surface, it does look very vengeful, as we've seen Donald Trump be endlessly pursued for this thing, that thing, and the other, impeached twice, and so on and so forth, still pursuing him, even though he's not the president anymore. How do you reconcile that with the very important business of the House that really is, especially like with the Oversight Committee, charged with this duty?
Well, we have to be adult enough to say, hey, there's $4 trillion going out the door. More than that, actually. There's 2.2 million federal employees. There's always somebody doing something stupid somewhere. And if you think there's no waste, fraud, and abuse, then you're just not paying attention. And, when the Secret Service, for instance, says that with the PPP, all the money that was going out the door to help get us through the pandemic, that there was more than $100 billion stolen. Are we supposed to just say, oh well, it's your money, it's my money, it's our money. Of course you're going to look at that. And I think we have to be adult enough to look at each investigation one at a time. Why is it that Hunter Biden still has assets in China? Does that affect our public policy? They've said publicly he doesn't, but he does, and the documentation is there. Why are there 150 plus suspicious activity reports issued by banks to the federal government talking about money going into the Biden's accounts Why does that happen? It only happens if you meet certain thresholds. Shouldn't we look at that? I think it'd be malpractice not to do those things.
I completely agree. Fox News contributor and former Congressman Jason Chaffetz joining us right now. A lot of the drama that goes on in what I'm calling the off season. We're Cardinals fans here in St. Louis, of course, and you got the winter meetings and the hot stove. That's kind of what I liken what's going on right now as a new majority is coming into the House. We see Kevin McCarthy making his case. We heard what he said right there about the goals of expanding the Republicans, the seats that they have in the House. He's successfully been able to do that. But of course, naturally, with 222 or 223 Republicans in the House, you're going to have people who fit different versions of what the Republican Party is there. How do we find a leader who's going to be able to coalesce the Republicans that are in the House to be effective and to not spend precious time infighting and getting the job done?
It's a tough road to go. I mean, you're supposed to represent your constituents, and there are a lot of people that have a hard time answering to their constituents saying, hey, I thought we were going to take 60 or 70 seats, and we barely skirted by. We spent hundreds of millions of dollars, and we didn't achieve what we wanted to achieve. Now, the big goal was to take the gavel away. I absolutely. But this is the struggle, and there's no easy answer to that. You know, and I hope those that are on both sides of the aisle understand, take this the right way. Democrats are much more like lemmings. They gather together. They do things united. They do believe in central government. I mean, it's kind of core to their belief. Republicans are more about self-determination, and they are more independent-minded, and consequently, they don't just go along to get along every single time. Most of them will, but there are, some that won't, and it makes governing, it makes selecting a leader very, very difficult.
So how do you go about that process? Do you feel like the Republicans, however this shakes out, whoever the speaker might be, I'm curious about your thoughts too on Kevin McCarthy's ability to lead. Do you think that they'll be able to get through this tough part, try to get past it without too many hurt feelings and effectively do those things, that oversight that you were talking about, the ability to subpoena and all that? You think we'll be able to get to that point very quickly in January?
No.
Okay.
The very first, the first fight is about the rules package. And a lot of people are concerned with Kevin McCarthy because he won't support certain things that they want to see. For instance, earmarks, where Republicans fought to get rid of that. Now they want to bring them back. There are a lot of people saying that's not going to help us in the budget. Will you bring up a balanced budget amendment and vote on it so that the states can tell us whether or not we want to balance our budget? No commitment there. Should we, as we've been able to do for 200 years, vacate the chair? That is, a member can call and say, we want to revote on who's the speaker. Only Nancy Pelosi changed that rule. It had been in place for hundreds of years. Why don't we bring that back, that rule? Those are the questions that they're asking. And you can see why there's some concern. And I don't know how it sorts itself out, but I can also tell you that Congresses of past have dealt with this. And even though there have been multiple votes, we do end up ultimately with somebody who is leading and becomes the speaker. I think speakers do far too much. It's more of a process job, and they should talk to the body about that. They don't want a top-down, hey, the speaker makes all decisions and we only do what the speaker wants. They need to diffuse that energy and that leadership, put it more into the committees, and I think most people will say, hey, I like that better because I have more of a say as a rank and file member of Congress.
We're speaking with Fox News contributor, former Congressman Jason Chaffetz. He has a podcast called the Jason in the House podcast. You should subscribe to that wherever you get your podcast from. You've been in Congress. You chose to leave Congress on your own, and I think about the election season that we just got out of. I was very involved with a lot of the local elections here, specifically on my side of the river in Illinois, and just watching the hard work that goes into trying to win a seat in Congress. It's very difficult work. It's incredibly expensive. And then I always kind of think about that period of time once the election has happened and people are starting to settle into their new seats. The winners, the losers go back to either doing what they were doing before, or they got to, do some soul searching and find something completely new. But the disconnect that exists between the people in Congress and the people in those districts, it seems to be widening. And you're talking about the weight, the load of work that ends up being on the speaker. That House of Representatives is supposed to be the closest thing to connection to the American people that exists in our federal government. Do you believe that connection still exists, or do you think it's pretty divided and separated at this point?
Well, I think the big surprise of this last election is that almost every single incumbent won re-election. We complain about results, and then it's interesting how the electorate goes out and it elects the exact same people that were there before. So, if you want different results, maybe you should elect different people and not be bashful about that. Look, a member of Congress represents about 800,000 people. And so it is difficult to have that type of communication. Social media has been a really good tool, but then it got manipulated and it got suppressed and it got tweaked such that members, I think, had an increasingly difficult time doing that. And you also had a number of people, myself included when I was there, where these town hall meetings, which I loved, they got hijacked by these activists who just want to disrupt and yell and scream instead of having a dialogue. So no easy solution to that, Annie. I think you're right, but it is surprising that if people are so upset that they keep sending the same people back.
Yeah, it's frustrating because there's a lot of hard work that goes into trying to put somebody up there who's new and fresh. And like you said, this election cycle, we didn't get that. Last question before we let you go. We're speaking with Jason Chaffetz. What is your advice or maybe encouragement for those voters who maybe didn't see this election turn out the way they wanted to? You mentioned the 60, 70 seats that some people were even suggesting in this. And boy, it certainly wasn't that. It was nail biting past a week after the election to see who was going to hold which house. What do you tell those people right now that are still feeling that emotion in the wake of a non-red wave? What should they do?
I'm glad they care. I'm glad they're involved and engaged, and somehow the Republic will survive. And, we're going into what everybody will say is the biggest election ever in the history of the country. Most presidential elections are. But, we need more people that get involved and don't just say, that thing's rigged, or my vote won't make a difference. I mean, look how many races came down to a very, very small number of votes. I mean, look at Lauren Boebert in Colorado.
Yeah.
Less than 500 votes. I mean, so, we need people involved and engaged. And my encouragement to people is talk from your heart. Explain to people why you believe what you believe, and be friends with people for all the right reasons. Don't just beat them over the head with some statistic. That's not, some tweet that's real clever. I do them, you do them. I mean, they're out there, right? But that's not gonna change people and their thinking to say, yeah, you know what? That is a better, smarter way to do things, and that's what we all need to be involved in. It's our government, not government works for us. At least it's supposed to.
Exactly. JasonInTheHouse.com and Jason in the House podcast. We appreciate you coming on here and hope you have a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season.
Thanks, Annie.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I think he's so right. Basically what he's doing is saying, like, what do you do? Will you invest in humanity, not in doubling down on the politics of it, because the politics will be downstream from the humanity of it, right? Only 693 days until we elect a new or the next president. Is Joe Biden going to run? I can't even. I was really mad at myself. I wanted to slap myself on the way into work here. I thought maybe Joe Biden is running again. Ugh. 693 days to find out. But until then, maybe just be kind to somebody. That's a good piece of advice there from Jason Chaffetz. Let's take a quick break. We've got a YouTube live chat poll today. Do you or will you trade in cryptocurrency? You have 3 options. Yes or no, or I don't understand it at all. You can guess where I fit into that. Cryptocurrency, is that your thing? You go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and you vote there. Sam Bankman-Fried, arrested in the Bahamas. He's going to have to go through that whole process in front of a bunch of people wondering, what'd you do with all of my money? We'll find out more about that throughout the course of the show, and we're going to have Jim Carafano and Mike Davis in the 1 o'clock hour. Packed Annie Frey show, but most importantly, you right here on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
The choice of a dentist is an important decision as well, because when you go to your dentist, you want to make sure you're comfortable. And there's a whole generation of people who didn't feel comfortable going to the dentist because it wasn't made to be comfortable. It was a service. It was a necessity for your health care, but a lot has changed since then. When you visit Foley Dental Group, you can go to FoleyDentalGroup.com while we're talking here to do a little research of your own. You are going to experience dental care differently than you've ever experienced it before. They have the very top of the line ability to provide you the information you need through your dental health. They take a whole health approach. This is incredibly helpful because for your dental visit, they can help you with other issues you may be experiencing regarding your health. If you are looking for implants or dentures, they have a dedicated, experienced doctors who are focused entirely on the best way to replace missing teeth so that you look great and you feel incredibly comfortable throughout this process. Foley Dental Group is the dentist for the Annie Frey family, and I hope that you'll consider letting them earn your clientele as well. You won't regret it, I promise. They're taking new patients right now. You can call them at 618-288-9670. You can find them online at FoleyDentalGroup.com.
Have you been waiting for the perfect time to propose or show them how much their love means to you? The first of a lifetime of holidays surrounded by those you love is just the moment you've been looking for. And at Diamonds Direct, we're here to make that magic happen. Diamonds Direct's got the unbeatable prices you're used to, plus 0% interest financing for 3 years. You can get the most amazing romantic gift and spread your payments over 3 years with 0 interest. That means an $8,000 diamond pendant or tennis bracelet is just over $220 a month. At Diamonds Direct, we have the best gifts: rings, bands, earrings, all new one-of-a-kind designer jewelry, starting as low as $500. So relax and enjoy the holidays. Get that incredible gift at a price you didn't think was possible and take advantage of 3 years 0 interest financing. Come in today or go online for store hours and directions, and check out our all-new holiday gift guide to make it super easy. Happy holidays from Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Hey, this is Brian Kilmeade. If you're wondering if America has ever been here before, get my book, The President and Freedom Fighter. It's about the heroes that rise up in our darkest times. Go to 971talk.com, 971talk.com to order a copy for Christmas.
Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Just wrapped up a nice conversation with Jason Chaffetz. I appreciate him so much because he's an incredibly down-to-earth person. We did a Vitae event in St. Charles, I believe it was, last year together, and he was the keynote speaker. I was the MC, and it was just so refreshing how pleasant he was to work with, and always great to have him back here on the Annie Frey Show. What do you know about cryptocurrency, Brad?
Like an outside.
On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 is expert, 0 is absolutely nothing. Brad is a
3.
Ooh, it's like 3 more than me.
Yeah.
No, I don't really understand cryptocurrency, and as being a risk-averse person, I never have looked at it and gone, that's for me.
I feel the same way, but like what I know is that there's not an actual physical asset there. It's all a digital asset, and I am always concerned about something that isn't real being worth money.
It's funny to have cryptocurrency commercials that exist in any capacity, in the conservative world, and you must own gold. It's like, which one of those? I'm a gold type of girl. I would want the thing in my hand.
Right. And like you have a digital wallet and all that stuff, and they put your crypto or your coins or whatever, your blockchain keys and all that other fun stuff in there. But like
you're saying.
Yeah, I really don't know what I'm saying either. I just know all those words come up when I hear people.
You're like, these are the words that I've heard discussed.
I know you're supposed to buy the dip, but again, like you're always talking about what happens whenever the EMP goes off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're a billionaire crypto magnate or whatever they call them,
you better be finding someone who can help feed you.
When the EMP goes off, you have 0 assets. Literally nothing.
To me, that seems obvious and true. Is it? I mean, it is, right? Is it? Because I am openly admitting ignorance because it's not like it's just not something that I would be into. Yeah. Gambling, betting on games and stuff, not my thing.
Not my thing either.
I know that's a lot of people's thing. It's a huge deal right now. Not my thing. I don't know. Like, I don't know how I could go bet on something. Like, I don't physically know where I would go to do a bet, which is not how you say that. I would like to do a bet, please. Although I'm good at poker.
Well, I don't like betting on sports because you end up wearing Houston Astros stuff on the air, and it's just terrible.
Yeah, maybe you need to bet against yourself. Because that's the way I would feel it as a pessimist.
I've heard of something called an emotional hedge bet. And so this was back when the Blues were in the playoffs and they were in the Stanley Cup Finals. And this person's like, have you ever heard of an emotional hedge bet? And basically what you do is you're like, how much money would I pay to see the Blues win the Stanley Cup?
I've said that on the air. Did you hear that from me? I didn't call it that.
I don't know, but
that's what I do with Cardinals playoffs tickets. I will buy. Like this year, I bought 4 seats for the playoffs in 3 separate games. And I don't buy tickets during the regular season. If we get some tickets at the station, we go. If we don't, we don't. But I will buy playoff tickets. And I bought 4 seats for what would have been the Cardinals' first game during the first series, the non-wild card series that we lost. The last game that we would have had, and then I think it would have been like game 5 or 6, depending on home or away, which would have been away for the NLCS. That was a chunk of change. I got all that money back. And it was like, when I buy those tickets, and I always tell myself, like, maybe I'll sell one set of these tickets to pay myself back for some of the other ones. And then I'm always like, but I really want to go to the game. But the idea is, if we lose, I'll feel like I won the lottery.
Yeah. Well, an emotional hedge bet is a little different in the fact that, like, so when the Blues were in the playoffs, you would bet against the Blues.
Yeah.
So you would bet on the Bruins to win the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then that way, if the Blues lost, you're like, oh, the Blues lost, but I won money.
Well, it's what I'm saying is I wasn't betting, but I was the Cardinals either were winning or I was getting money, which is the same concept. So let's talk a little bit about, in only terms that I can read to you from Fox News, because I know that this is important to a lot of people, but I don't understand it myself. Current FTX CEO John Ray III laid the blame for the cryptocurrency exchange's collapse on founder and former chief executive Sam Bankman-Fried and his top executives, telling Congress that they gambled with customers' money without any safeguards to protect their investments. Ray testified before the House Financial Services Committee Tuesday as furious lawmakers have demanded explanations and promised to make heads roll after the company lost billions of dollars of customers' money. FTX filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy following a liquidity crisis caused by Bankman-Fried's mismanagement of about a cool $10 billion in customer funds. Ray said the FTX group's collapse appears to stem from absolute concentration of control in the hands of a small group of grossly inexperienced and unsophisticated individuals who fail to implement virtually any of the systems or controls that are necessary for a company entrusted with other people's money or assets. I scratch my head and go, how is this even possible? How can is it because it's unregulated that they were allowed to do this? But to be able to have command of that much money, of other people's money, and to squander it away? Ray, who took over following Bankman-Fried's resignation and has handled several major corporate collapses, which include Enron, said in his written testimony that nearly all the cases he has handled alleging criminal activity shares common characteristics, but, quote, never in my career have I seen such an utter failure of corporate controls at every level of an organization, from the lack of financial statements to a complete failure of any internal controls or governance whatsoever. The new FTX CEO said his investigation is still ongoing, but has found several unacceptable management practices so far that exposed customers to significant losses. This is all from Fox News. So today's YouTube poll is, do you or will you trade in cryptocurrency? Yes, no, or I don't understand it at all. So I would love to know what you think. You go to the Andy Frey YouTube channel and vote in that. You can tell us if you do trade in it, if you don't trade in it, or if you don't understand it at all. Another great opportunity for you to maybe expound on why you decide to trade in cryptocurrency. Clearly, if you know anything about it, you know more than I do. Do you think that, I mean, if you don't trade in it, Brad, or if you're not into it, it seems like something you got to like really be into.
Well, yeah, I have a friend that traded in it. And
yeah.
He never traded in any of the big, because Bitcoin is like super valuable. He would trade in these small currencies that are worth, a couple bucks, maybe a penny or two. He said, if you stay on it, he said the rises and the falls are so fast that you can buy in a dip, sell at a high point, buy in a dip, sell at a high point, make $800 in a day. And you're just watching.
Can you just cash that out then?
Yeah, well, then you have to sell everything off and turn it into cash. But yeah. So.
Do you have to pay taxes on that?
I'm sure you do.
I think I remember on my tax form having to check I think there was a question about cryptocurrency.
I would assume it would be some sort of capital gains that you would have to report, depending on the amount and how much money you've made in that time. But yeah, that's kind of like what that Sam Bankman-Fried thing when the CEO said that it was, what did he say? It was a small group of people who were vastly inexperienced. I wonder with cryptocurrency, because it's still kind of the wild, wild west. It was like Bitcoin was first launched or invented in 2009. So how much information can there really be on it out there?
Our probably left of center friend Art on YouTube says cryptocurrency has roots in libertarian free market ideals. I thought more folks here would be on board with it. And then he comments, or educated on it. I thought Sam Bankman-Fried would be more educated on business, and yet here we are, buddy. I mean, I am very, very open and honest that I am not an expert on everything, or maybe I'm not even an expert on anything. Who knows? It probably is all a basis of relative opinion. But this is a really big story, and I'm just choosing not to not cover it because I'm not an expert on it. And the idea of putting this YouTube poll out there, do you or will you trade in cryptocurrency? Yes, no, or I don't understand it at all, gives me the idea of where's my audience on this? Because I can bring expert after expert after expert on here to talk cryptocurrency, but if you are not somebody who understands the language, or if I'm somebody who doesn't understand the language on it or isn't particularly invested in it, then that kind of guides the direction that I would have an interview about it. Do we have somebody come on who talks about the basics of it? If nobody's interested in it, I'm probably not going to spend my time on it. But today is a huge story because Sam Bankman-Fried was just arrested for losing billions of dollars. So maybe Art, Sam, and I are just, two peas in a pod here who just don't know anything about what we're doing. Unfortunately for Sam Bankman-Fried, he's likely going to be charged and convicted of a massive felony.
Yeah, well, you didn't launch an entire business on something you didn't know anything about.
Yet. I got to study. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to study Sam Bankman-Fried's mistakes and just not make them.
Like the libertarian appeal of cryptocurrency is the very much lack of regulation and how it's supposed to basically self-regulate. And that's kind of what I think that's what Art is getting at there. But that idea doesn't necessarily mean that's a good execution of a libertarian concept.
I just really think that crypto has been one of those things that has been very, I'm going to say it, niche, not niche, because I'm not one of those people. Who says niche? Does everybody?
NPR.
Everybody, yeah. All right, niche. I'm saying mine with a T in it. It's like one of those niche things that it's actually kind of ironic that he considers it to be like a libertarian-based thing, because it's one of those developments that's taken place that has kind of absorbed a politically motivated mentality. So it's almost, there are lots of things that are like this. I was thinking about on the way in to work today about Fox News, because sometimes I flip through a whole bunch of different things on the way into work. I always listen to Brian Kilmeade, and I pop over to Fox News. I pop over to other talk networks that are happening on my Sirius channel, and I'll listen to podcasts. I'll listen to sound that I've pulled for myself if it's a longer form interview, whatever. So I'm going through all of these different things. But I was listening to Fox, and it was funny to me to listen to all the advertisers that are on Fox. And it's in many cases, it's kind of similar to 97.1. And we appreciate it, but it's just funny how everything ends up taking that political life about it. And like if you want to use balance of nature vitamin, like if you're looking for a vegetable supplement and you're conservative, you take balance of nature. Like your vitamin supplements say something about you.
These are conservative vitamins.
Yes.
And I'm going to go home and sleep on my conservative pillow.
Yes.
And put my conservative slippers on.
I was just having this conversation with some family members over the weekend. Are there, like, what percentage of users of a MyPillow pillow are passionate liberals?
I bet it's very low.
I mean, like, the ones that are sleeping on a MyPillow probably aren't aware that they're sleeping on a MyPillow and having the best sleep of their life. I don't know. I don't endorse them. I'm not in partnership with them. I'm not opposed to them. I actually have some MyPillows at my house, but I just think it's so, I'm almost repulsed by it, not because I'm opposed to people who want to align with conservative values and to because of that. And I appreciate the people who sponsor 97.1 and who sponsor the show, because many of them are like-minded. Some of them aren't, but they just know that we have an engaged audience. And the things that I endorse, I'm wearing a Fire Creek Snacks sweatshirt right now. I love Fire Creek Snack Sticks and have been a customer of theirs much, much, much longer than I have ever endorsed them. Save 15% at firecreeksnacks.com. Promo code Andy. But the idea that, like, if you, I don't know if this is like an unendorsement endorsement, but like, they're not out there to be the meat stick for Republicans. No, that's ridiculous. I mean, I promise you, if you give your most liberal friend a Fire Creek snack stick, they are going to love it if they like meat sticks. And it doesn't have to be a right-left thing. Reminds me of Maui going, not a guy-girl thing. Hero for all.
Yeah.
Meat stick for all.
Yeah, they're just out there to make a great meat stick.
Yes. And I mean, that is, to me, the free market system and capitalism and everything. So going back to the original comment by Art, which he said he didn't mean any offense by that or isn't any slight. It feels like it, but I'm just a little sensitive, I guess, Art. Sorry. But the idea that if something is put out there, like if I sleep on a pillow that's not a MyPillow, that I like lose a little bit of my red shirt cred. That's just really nuts. That's crazy. And also the idea that this is I know that this is the thing. I shouldn't even say it. I shouldn't even go there. I'm going to regret it later, but here I go. The idea of Disney being something that if you're conservative, you should not have anything to do with them. No, I think that if you're a customer and you like the product that Disney used to put out, if you know the history of Walt Disney and you understand who he was and how much he loved this country, you should rattle the cage of Disney and tell them to get back to their roots. And you should speak up about it. Not just say, I'm taking my money and my ball and I'm going home. I feel like you should pressure these people with strong voice with facts and with invested emotion to say, this matters to me, and I'm not going to just vacate the premises, because that leaves the other voice to control it all.
Mm-hmm.
Speak up.
Yes.
I don't know.
No, I feel the exact same way. I actually, I use that analogy when I'm explaining, people are like, well, why do you stay in Illinois? Why don't you just leave? Well, this is where my family has been for generations. My wife's family has a Centennial farm. Isn't your farm a Centennial farm? Your family's farm?
My parents, yeah.
And it's like, this is my home, and I just, you're going to come in here and say, well, we're going to make it this way now, and this is the way we want it, and you, if you don't like it, can leave. Like, who are you to come into somebody else's home and do that? And that doesn't sit right with me. And it's the same thing with, a corporation. If you love the corporation, it's worth fighting for. Who are they to come in? Because this is a recent development with Disney, fairly recent when you consider the length of the company's been around.
Probably the last 10, 15 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you consider they've been around since what, the 20s or 30s? No, they can't have it. And it's worth fighting for. So yeah, go ahead and keep fighting for the companies that you want, that make the products that you like. Fight for your states, fight for your country, fight for whatever it is, because if you think it's worth it.
Fight for what matters to you.
Exactly.
Not to what the capital T they say. And if somebody disagrees with what you're fighting for, okay, disagree. That's fine.
Right.
That's fine. Keep going. Keep doing you. Keep doing what you do. I'm going to talk to you in the 2 o'clock hour when we get the whole crew in here about a lawsuit that has been filed against Disney. Did you read that article that I sent you?
I did.
It's very interesting,
Yes.
isn't it? And
Yes.
it could move into some other things down the road. Somebody else is suing Disney, and I'm going to talk to you about that. And this is how I do what I do. I want Disney to get on the right track of entertaining people and stop worrying about educating and indoctrinating people. Simple as that. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, not Disney related so much, but a little Florida related. Ron DeSantis, Ryan Wiggins, is going to talk to us about some of the methodology of Ron DeSantis, who he talks to, when he talks to, and if that's the correct way to do it. So Wiggins America and Ron DeSantis when we come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFreyShow.
Guys, 2022's been a roller coaster year, so spoil her this Christmas by giving her the next best thing to wearing nothing at all with soft, silky, naturally nude pajamas exclusively from Pajamagram. Sensuous and smooth, naturally nude pajamas feel just like her own bare skin, even more alluring than lingerie. The texture and touch of these pajamas is so seductive that you'll both love the feel of them. She'll love the feeling of wearing next to nothing at all, and you'll love the way they look. Best of all, Pajamagram does the wrapping for you with free gift packaging. Order today, and Pajamagram will also include a free matching naturally nude nightie with the purchase of naturally nude pajamas. That is free gift packaging and a free naturally nude nightie when you order today. Just go to Pajamagram.com. It's fast, easy, and delivery by Christmas is guaranteed. That's Pajamagram.com.
Who does your insurance? Is it somebody who you know? Is it a personal relationship that you have? Is it somebody you inherited? Laura Michael Insurance wants to earn your business, and she certainly has earned my family's business and is going to save us quite a bit of money. And she does personal insurance, auto, home, life, but she also takes care of commercial insurance. So if your business is looking for somebody you can trust, I want you to give her a call, visit her, sit down and have a personal conversation with her. The thing that I appreciate the most about Laura Michael Insurance is her attention to detail to you, to each client. Every client is different. Every client has different needs, has different requirements, whether it be personal or commercial insurance needs. Laura Michael will assess your situation and tell you what you need. Nothing more, absolutely nothing less. You can trust Laura Michael. She's a wonderful person. She is fun to be with, but she has 25 plus years of experience in the insurance business. She's right there in St. Charles. If you've inherited somebody, if it's somebody who you went with that you don't really know and you don't really have that personal relationship with, develop it with Laura Michael Insurance. You can thank me later. I certainly have enjoyed working with her for our family's insurance as well. You can find her on mine. It's LauraMichaelInsurance.com, MICHEL, LauraMichaelInsurance.com.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
Join Mosby Building Arts every Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m. on 97.1 FM. Rich Orse and guests give insider tips about renovations, design, construction, exteriors, and more. Tune in to Right at Home with Rich on Saturdays or catch the podcast online.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 is happy to partner with SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. Text 20357 to give a Christmas gift to the Tree of Hope. That's 20357. This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for being with us this Tuesday afternoon. It's Wiggins America time. You ready?
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins!
My favorite subject.
Wiggins or Ron DeSantis?
You be the judge.
Don't answer that question.
Wiggins DeSantis.
Yeah, let's talk about Ron DeSantis. This is a clip that I pulled from Fox talking about something that we have seen over the last couple of years, especially in the COVID era, about the way Ron DeSantis handles the media.
I wanted to make one point, jumping off what you said, because that was brilliant work that you were doing to sort of open it up, right? And so there's something that Ron DeSantis is doing down in Florida, which I think that is interesting, is that he's being criticized for not talking to quote-unquote mainstream media platforms, and he's giving more of a voice to local outlets. And so he's being criticized by that. And I think that what you are doing, Morgan, what DeSantis is doing down there is a model for what people in actual power can do to sort of elevate these new media voices and to take the power away from the mainstream media platform.
His name is Rob Smith. He's a contributor on Fox News.
Mm-hmm.
You've probably seen him before.
Mm-hmm.
Making a point.
Like he said Fox News. And I've never seen anyone insult Fox that way, but somebody's going to now.
Ooh, I may have to patent that.
Hurry.
Get that copyright.
Create that burner account and just start slamming them and put Fox News, TM.
Tucker Carlson was boring last night. Fox News reports. No, Ron DeSantis certainly has handled the media differently than most governors have. He has done a yeoman's job of battling the media. If you recall, do you remember the 60 Minutes report that was about a year ago that was just an absolute hit job on him and his COVID response? He battled back at that hard and has done that throughout his tenure as governor. My question for you guys is, if he's doing this, and let's say beyond governor, let's say he actually does become president of the United States.
He does become president of the United States.
Let's say
that feels good.
Let's just pause right
just
there.
One more time. He does become president of the United States.
Let's say that he does become president of the United States.
Are we going to keep doing this?
Let's say that he does.
I mean, I can.
Manifest this.
Yeah. Speak it into existence.
And let's say it happens in 2024. I don't know.
It happens in 2024.
Okay, we've said it. Now let's envision it. And the many different things.
Bad for radio. Silence.
Just listen. What do you think that his relationship with the media would look like? And because my initial reaction to this is that great. He is fighting back against bias and straight up false reporting in some cases by elevating, according to Rob Smith here, he's saying local media, but he also mentions new media, outside legacy media, to elevate these voices that are actually in some cases doing much better journalism.
So I think about that. I think that's an absolutely necessary thing for people to do. And the reason I think about that is if you think back to just this administration, this current administration, and how they've redefined or attempted to redefine language, and the media has just been complicit on it, there's a narrative that goes out, and that narrative will be controlled by whoever wins that. So you can't just cede that over to the media. You have to fight to control the narrative. His strategy as a governor to do that with small markets and local TV stations, I think that makes a whole lot of sense because you get your message out there. For Donald Trump had the right idea in end-arounding the media through Twitter. I just wouldn't say he was as good at it as he could have been. You know, he would clap back, but then you're like, that wasn't even an argument against what you said. You just called him a name after doing it. But, you know, people like that too. So I think, that DeSantis needs to battle, and this is what I like about DeSantis. I think that it'll be effective in that his message will get out because he will do it without the name calling and I don't know what the right word is for what Donald Trump did.
Annie Frey. Let's say DeSantis is president in 2024.
DeSantis is president in 2024. This is my favorite Wiggins America.
Do you think that he would be able to do this, though, in the White House? Because he's able to do it in Florida with local media. Can he do this in the White House, and what does that look like?
Well, the entire idea of politicians and their relationship with the media has to be seen through which lens? The Trump lens, of course. Because Donald Trump very purposely made the media the enemy. Conversely, because the media made Donald Trump the enemy. Donald Trump did what Donald Trump does. He punches squarely back. So I don't think that we can answer a lot of these questions until the day comes when Ron DeSantis is the nominee. Maybe it's not in 2024. Maybe it's in 2028 or whenever. But I think that the idea that the media is the enemy when paired with the lens of how they treated Donald Trump and how Donald Trump so boldly and vigorously responded to it. I've been to multiple of his events and rallies. He does not miss the opportunity to point to the media in the back row. I mean, I've been in the media pit when he's pointing, and I'm like, oh,
not
hey,
me,
not me. Call on me. I'm good. You know, it's ridiculous. But does Ron DeSantis or anybody who is the next nominee that's not Donald Trump pick up where Donald Trump left off, or do they try to reshape the game again? Because if you look at what Ron DeSantis is doing in Florida, Ron DeSantis went on The View. So to suggest that Ron DeSantis is only doing small market media, which is not what you're suggesting, it's what a lot of people on the big media enemies, the leftist leaning agenda driven media, it's what they're doing is saying he's not talking to people on the left. That's not true. He will go talk to them, but he understands the point of it. Why did he go on The View? He went on The View because I think he had a book. So I think he was promoting his book. So he went on The View, not so he could reach people on the left. He wanted to sell books. And he knew that that would get attention for him because it gets repurposed in clips that people like us play after the fact. Why did The View have Ron DeSantis on? Because The View, the producers and the people on The View knew that the consumers of The View would love watching those hens put him in place. Blech. But it's mutually beneficial. I think that a Ron DeSantis, speaking to local media, obviously do that. And if people are going to treat you as an enemy combatant by the time you come in, unless you have a purpose that serves the people you represent, I would not give those people that audience. But I do think that there would be great advantage for somebody who has the capability to direct the interview, who understands how to do a combative interview and still get your message effectively across. in a fresh way that isn't the Trump way, not because necessarily the Trump way was wrong, but I don't think anybody else can do the Trump thing and actually effectively move the needle. I think that Ron DeSantis could be that guy and bring the good news to the people on the left, and some people will pick it up, some won't.
I would like to see him not necessarily ban dissent, but at least change the guest list a little bit for the White House press briefing room if he were the president.
Ron DeSantis for president 2024.
Well, there you go.
Period. We'll be back with Jim Carafano.
Wait and see. Sometimes that can be a good approach, but it isn't always a good strategy when it comes to your retirement. The decisions you make today regarding your savings and investments can have a huge impact on your retirement. Ken and Lori Heisey and the team at Heisey Advisory Group know how hard it can be to watch your accounts go up and down. They've seen the market at its highs and lows and everywhere in between. So if you want to talk to an experienced advisor to help make the most out of these turbulent times, call 314-328-6000 now. That's 314-328-6000. Don't wait any longer. Call Ken and Lori Heisey at Heisey Advisory Group to see what's possible with your retirement plan. 314-328-6000.
Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Roadmap Technologies is waiting to take your phone call to help you with your IT services. IT is complicated. It is something that you feel like you're, okay, I can do IT. I do all the other things. You're probably, the janitor at your small business. You probably are the person who manages the orders. You maybe work the cash register from time to time. You do all the things, the deliveries, whatever it might be. Maybe you folded IT into your responsibilities as well. Well, the cost and the risk associated with not being responsible or most specifically knowledgeable when it comes to your IT services can be pretty steep. That's why you hire Roadmap Technologies to take care of your IT services for you. They can find hidden costs in your IT that you don't need to be paying. And they can also make sure that they head off any software or hardware challenges that you might have, especially in the coming year. RoadmapTech.com is the website. Visit this veteran-owned business for your IT services today. RoadmapTech.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
KFTK FM Florissant.
Driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group.
97.1 FM Talk.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Federal prosecutors say he defrauded investors. Elisa Brady, Fox News. They're about to hold a news conference on the unsealed indictment against the founder of a cryptocurrency exchange who appeared in court in the Bahamas today as the firm's new chief appeared on Capitol Hill.
FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried is facing extradition back to the U.S. indicted on several fraud and money laundering charges connected to the collapse of his cryptocurrency exchange. The current FTX CEO tells Congress.
I've just never seen an utter lack of record keeping. Absolutely no internal controls whatsoever.
John Ray took over FTX after Bankman-Fried's resignation last month. Bankman-Fried was scheduled to testify under oath to the House Financial Services Committee before his arrest yesterday.
Fox's Jared Halpern on Capitol Hill. Bankman-Fried also facing charges from financial regulators. The U.S. may be ready to send a Patriot missile battery to Ukraine after an urgent request from Ukrainian leaders for more powerful weapons to shoot down incoming Russian fire. Officials telling the Associated Press approval for the Patriot missile battery could come later this week and be announced as early as Thursday. The U.S. government is hailing a scientific breakthrough on the long road to energy from fusion, joining atoms.
Ignition allows us to replicate, for the first time, certain conditions that are found only in the stars and the sun.
Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, after the Lawrence Livermore National Lab in California for the first time was able to produce more energy from a fusion reaction than the energy used to ignite it. Granholm calling it one of the most impressive scientific feats of the 21st century. Commercial use, energy to power homes and businesses, is still years away. America is listening to Fox News.
Get ready for holiday feast season with Pepto-Bismol.
Uncle Derek's here with his famous fried turkey. Hey, Aunt Mary brought the mac and cheese. Donna's here with the potato salad.
Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief for unexpected stomach upsets. So enjoy the holidays. Pepto has you covered, no matter who made the potato salad.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Dell Technologies' Days of Deals for Business start now with fresh, limited quantity deals on tech to drive productivity. Save on select performance laptops and desktops powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything, and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Cloudy and windy going through our Tuesday afternoon with increasing rain, maybe a rumble of thunder here and there. 55 for the high. The winds from the south. Tonight, rain and some spot thunderstorms. Nothing strong or severe. Come to an end before midnight. 50. Wednesday, partly sunny, still mild. 58. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, partly to mostly cloudy skies, but highs only in the 30s. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
97.1 is happy to partner with SSM Health, Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital.
It's to help the Cardinal Glennon kids, and giving comes in various shapes and sizes.
Text 20357 to give a Christmas gift to the Tree of Hope. That's 20357.
Hi, my name is Curtis Barks with Complete Auto Body and Repair. In honor of our newest location in Cottleville, for any new customers, simply come into any of our 6 locations and ask us to pay the first $50, and we will. That's right. That means brakes, suspension, alignments, air conditioning, even our auto body work. Please come see our team or visit us at CompleteAB.com. If it's not perfect, it's not complete. Others can't compete with Complete Auto Body.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
If you own a home in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes, stlouis.com at 314-782-8000 and get your cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant homes, inherited homes, fixer-uppers, beautiful homes, even the tenant who won't pay the rent apartment. Google us. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out our best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to our website, chrisbuyshomes.stlouis.com, or call Chris at 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000, and get the offer you've been waiting for. 314-782-8000.
Wearing my Fire Creek Snacks hoodie today. I really enjoy Fire Creek snack sticks. I have been a longtime customer of Fire Creek, and I'm excited to welcome them back onto the Annie Frey Show here in December as part of my favorite things. Great gift suggestion for the people in your life that you're looking to acknowledge with something nice that you know they'll enjoy. Fire Creek snack sticks are first and foremost delicious. Now, why do you choose a delicious Fire Creek snack stick over a different meat stick? Maybe because they have no artificial ingredients. They're gluten-free, soy-free, MSG-free, and they are high in protein and low in sugar and really convenient to use. It's my favorite little snack that I bring with me to hand my kids in between picking them up from school and by the time we get dinner. It holds them over. Like I said, it's a protein, low sugar snack that they can have, and they love them. My husband loves them as well. They're easy to take with you, put in your purse, put in your desk at work, and convenient, delicious snacks that you don't have to feel bad about eating. If you're looking to get a gift for yourself or maybe somebody in your life this holiday season, try Fire Creek Snack Sticks. You can go to firecreeksnacks.com and put in the promo code Annie at checkout. Save 15%. That is a great savings on a Christmas gift. Promo code Annie, firecreeksnacks.com.
Beat the holiday rush and get the Mark Reardon special. 3 rooms, 0 resified, starting at $119. You can also get $75 off your air duct cleaning when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
Santa's thinking fine jewelry from Shane Company. Are you? Visit us for gorgeous gifts starting under $300. Order online and get free express shipping.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Sources telling Fox News in the last 24 hours alone in the El Paso sector, more than 2,600 illegal crossings. Those numbers are unheard of, unprecedented, especially for the month of December. And back out here live, keep in mind, we're in December right now, typically considered a quote-unquote colder month at the border. Remember, President Biden said this border crisis was seasonal. It only happens in the springtime. That is obviously not true. We're pushing into these colder months, and we're seeing record numbers on top of record numbers every day, and that is with Title 42 still in place. Border Patrol sources tell us, wait till it drops in a couple weeks, then you're going to see a surge on top of a surge.
We keep hearing about Title 42, and we keep hearing about border surges, and it seems as though it's a story that just keeps repeating itself, and that's why we talked to Jim Carafano about it.
Jim Carafano,
These are dangerous times.
Vice President for Foreign and Security Policy at Heritage.
Jim Carafano, welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Always good to have you here.
It is. Well, I say it's good to be with you, and it does seem a bit deja vu. But the border story is it's just gone beyond reality, and maybe it's one of these things where it's just so overwhelming that people can no longer grasp the gravity of what's going on here. But it is the And in some ways, I think the midterms, because there wasn't this kind of massive red wave and the administration didn't really suffer catastrophically, they've literally just doubled down on open border policies.
Do they? Is their policy? Here, let me ask you this question in a broad sense that you can answer in the way that your expertise lends. Does this administration have a border policy?
Yes, they absolutely do. And it's open borders, which is let anyone who wants to come here into the United States and try to accommodate them and use federal tax dollars to do that.
It seems as though there's that they have to understand that this is going to breed future problems for the United States of America, problems with which they either are willing to assume those risks and the consequences of those actions, or they don't identify the consequences as true problems. They identify it as an asset.
I think all those, I think all those things are true. I do think there's a sense that if the problem becomes so huge and overwhelming, we'll just give everybody an amnesty, and then all those people will be grateful to the Democrats and will vote Democrat forever. And it's about securing political power. I kind of believe that's true because there's no other kind of rational explanation for that. And for me, what is shocking and almost, well, actually it is seriously demoralizing, but so revealing is the fact that when we jumped into this lame duck session, what happened? You literally have Republicans jump up and say, okay, let's cut a deal, right? You're going to secure the border now and we'll give you amnesty for, X million people, which is shocking because, first of all, how could you trust these guys on anything and think that they would actually come through? The other thing is we absolutely know that illegal immigration just encourages more illegal immigration. And the third thing is the American conservatives in this country won't stand for this. They won't stand for their party abolishing national sovereignty and secure borders. I mean, they're angry enough at the administration, and yet there are Republicans who actually believe that they can do this and not and essentially destroy confidence and the legitimacy of their own party, which is nonsense. So to me, honestly, to hear Republicans talk about amnesties is even more demoralizing than to see what Biden is doing at the border. And I got to tell you, the thing is when they write the history of the Biden administration, the amount of waste of American tax dollars, wealth, and treasure will be so shocking because the bill won't just be the Infrastructure Reduction Act and the infrastructuring and all of that, and, throwing money at everything. It'll be the cost of fixing all this, which, by the way, is cheaper than just having continued illegal immigration. But the bill that Biden is putting on the American people that we'll have to pay is mind-boggling. If this was, what Bernie Madoff did or what this guy just did with FTX, the billions that they billed people, that is peanuts compared to what Joe Biden has done. Ooh. And those guys go to prison.
Yeah. We're speaking with Jim Carafano, the Vice President for Foreign and Security Policy at the Heritage Foundation. I think that at least politically and in campaigns that the border issue conflates two actual issues that we have. The first being the border crisis, what's taking place at the location of the southern border. But then also second to that, but maybe equal to that, is the immigration crisis that we have in this country. So you have all these people who are here, but there's still a physical border that is under siege right now. And it seems as though politicians purposely and kind of casually even talk across each other on these issues so that no resolution is ever achieved.
And the thing is, and it's so much bigger than just the numbers. I mean, there's a drug genocide going on in the United States. It's a direct result of what's going on the border. There's a crime wave that's going on in the United States. It's a result of what's going on in the border. There is, we are destabilizing Latin America. That's a result of what's going on at the border. The next terrorist that walks across the border and kills a bunch of people, that's what's going on. And the costs to the American taxpayer are astronomical. And, and look, I have loving tolerance for my fellow conservatives because and everybody has their problem du jour, like we don't like spending in the Ukraine or whatever. You know what? Even if Ukraine was completely fraud, waste, and abuse, which it's not, I think it's actually money well spent. That is pennies compared to what this is costing us. Every conservative in America every day ought to be complaining about this issue because this is a knife in the heart of the American people, and we are doing nothing about it. And I'm glad that the House leadership says they're going to take it up. I'm glad that they went to the border. I'm glad that they say it's a priority. All that's really good, but honestly, it should be all hands on deck, and it's not all hands on deck.
Yeah. I think the American people are very frustrated by it because I think that it's pretty obvious to look and see that we have a concern at the southern border that this is an issue with the influx of people who are coming here. And it's boiled down to in the political conversation that, it's basically deemed as racist in the political conversation if you want to stop people from coming here. But nobody is saying immigration is bad. We just want people to legally immigrate to this country because we have a system.
And the problem is it's escalating. When Biden said illegal immigration is seasonal, he was right. It's happening in every season. And every single month, it's getting worse. And the numbers are getting bigger. And it's not like okay, well, eventually this is going to slow down. There's something like 3 billion people on the planet Earth that want to move to the United States. And they will. They'll all walk here if we don't do something about this.
Man, that's frustrating. Jim Carafano with us with the Heritage Foundation. And, I asked you about does the Biden administration have a policy? And you said, yes, it's open borders. A little bit of a challenge from one of our commenters who's watching on the live stream. And he would like to know, how does the Biden administration describe their policy? Do you think that they would openly say, yeah, we're for open borders? Or do you think the Biden administration is presenting this to the American people differently?
Well, yeah. I mean, somehow this is all Trump's fault. It's somehow because, what Trump did, that's why we're having this big problem now. Or it's seasonal migration, or it's a bunch of other things. But, it's the policy's Bart Simpson. I mean, there's always a new excuse how it's not their fault, and they're just dealing with a situation that's beyond their control. But the reality is it's an intentional policy on their part. And then when you ask them, what's the end state of this? You've never heard anything, right? And because what they don't want to admit is the end state is we give everybody amnesty, we give them all the vote, and we absorb them all, and they all become Democratic voters. That's the end state. At least I don't know what else it could be.
Yeah. And it ties into some of the other adversarial countries across the country or across the world, I should say, that will see our weakness on our southern border. There's no way that they're not going to look for ways to take advantage of that.
And they can weaponize us, and I think they already are, which is pay people to walk into the United States. And countries are already doing that, and they can do it a lot more. Russia tried this. They just brought a bunch of immigrants and they put them in Belarus and they said, walk into Western Europe and destabilize Western Europe. And the Western Europeans weren't stupid. They said, no. Actually, if you go back, there was 5 minutes of sanity in the 2020 election when in the third debate, Biden actually said, not in so many words, but he was going to have open border policies. And literally, he basically came out and admitted it. And we were all like, okay, this is exactly what you're voting for. And people voted for him anyway.
People did.
And I guess either they didn't believe him, but it's the one thing where he absolutely kept his word. But, I'm going to be a president for all Americans, a lie. I'm going to fix the economy, a lie. I'm going to deal with COVID, a lie. I'm going to be strong abroad, a lie. All those things were lies. But the one thing he did say, which was truthful, which is he said in the debate, I'm going to open up the borders, and he did.
Yeah, and we're paying the price for it now, and we're going to be paying the price for it for generations. So we have a Republican majority in the House coming in January. If they get their act together, once they take the oath of office and they're in there, what do you realistically expect this Republican House majority to get done?
Well, I hope that, one is I hope they'll rip the Band-Aid off and they'll show exactly what the administration was doing. So for example, we recently just published some research that shows there's like a dozen NGOs which are making massive profits over basically human trafficking for the U.S. government. Like the U.S. government is taking the taxpayer dollars, they're giving them to NGOs to essentially move as many illegal aliens as possible in the United States, and the NGOs are happy to take the money. We just published the data, and we did it by basically just tracking cell phones of where these people are and what they were doing, and they're all over the country. So I hope that the Republicans, if they're in charge, will pay attention to that, and they'll show the fecklessness of the policy. Enriching NGOs with taxpayer money to move the illegal aliens in, the crime, the drugs, everything else. And then I hope they'll put some legislation on the table that talks about strong fixes for this. Because make no mistake, if a conservative president is elected president of the United States to deal with border security and immigration, they're going to expect two things. One is they're going to expect them to secure the border, and two, they're going to expect them to deport a lot of people. And if they don't do both of those, that president will lose the faith and credibility of the American people. And that's going to cost money, and it's going to cost a lot of money, but not nearly as much as what we're spending now to essentially, import the entire world in the United States.
Yeah. You've spotlighted this issue on this show many, many times and will continue to do so. We're always grateful for your time, Jim. Thanks for being here again.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yep, of course. Vice President for Foreign and Security Policy at the Heritage Foundation, Jim Carafano. I don't see how this issue doesn't start to affect people's lives on a very personal level if it hasn't already. Of course, the drug, the fentanyl that's coming into our country, the drug crisis that we're facing across the nation certainly doesn't occur just on the southern border. It's very sad. It's very tragic. It does not seek out only one person in one particular party. And I hope that we come up with a solution for this. And I hope that we start being able to, and it's naive to say it, I know it, but it's two separate issues. What's taking place on the border and the immigration crisis that we have in the country. All of these people who are here supposed to, follow up on their court date if they choose not to. I think they say 9 out of 10 don't come back for their court date and they're in the country. That's not okay. And I think we need to be able to say that out loud. We have an immigration system. Maybe it's not the best immigration system. Maybe the legal immigration system needs an overhaul, but we still need to have and adhere to a process where people come into this country through a system that is set up by law-abiding American citizens that allows people to come here, to find work, to thrive here, but to do so under the rules and the regulations of a sovereign nation. And we don't do that at this point, and we need to get back to that yesterday. Let's take a quick break. Mike Davis is going to join us when we come back. He's the founder and president of the Article 3 Project. He's the founder and president of the Internet Accountability Project as well. And he is going to talk to us about Eric Schmidt's lawsuit, the depositions that he's been able to have in his inquiry and his charge into the relationship between big government and big tech. How are these two working behind the closed doors? What have we seen in these depositions? And what does it mean for you, the American citizen who's out there just trying to exercise your First Amendment rights? We'll talk to Mike Davis in a minute. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS employees and enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-777-1979. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-777-1979. That's 800-777-1979. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
Ruler Foods is where we're going to be tomorrow, Wednesday, December 14th, for our food drive. Are you going to be able to make it out there with us? I sure hope so. Would love to see you and love to partner with you to help our neighbors in need here in St. Louis and the St. Louis Area Food Bank. The great things about Ruler Foods, if you're looking to pick up some stuff to donate, you can just, when you show up to see us tomorrow from noon to 3, go into the Ruler Foods there, shop quality Kroger brands at Ruler Foods low prices. You don't need to clip coupons to save money, and everybody is looking to save money these days. Deals that are lower than low on fresh produce and meat at Ruler Foods. If you are looking for a quick last-minute gift or stocking stuffer that's not going to break the bank, you can shop Ruler Foods for a great selection of toys, home decor, candy, and so much more. Reach out to Ruler Foods and go get some stuff put together for tomorrow's food drive. If you go to 971talk.com/events, you'll see a list of items that we are collecting for the food drive tomorrow. Cannot wait to see you, to meet you, and to partner with you, like I said, to help the St. Louis Area Food Bank for our neighbors in need. 971talk.com/events.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Swear you hit me like a vision. I wasn't expecting. But who am I to tell fate where it's supposed to go with it? Don't you blink, you might miss it. See, we got a right to just love it or leave it. You find it and keep it, cause it ain't every day you get the chance to say, oh, this is how it starts. Lightning strikes the heart. It goes off like a gun, brighter than the sun.
So I think it just adds one more layer to the plot of legal liabilities. I still think the biggest issue in this whole thing is the state coordination, the governmental pressure, the number of people in Washington, D.C., in legislative positions of power who threatened the company with retribution if they did not remove accounts like that of Donald Trump. But I think this just layers on to that legal case and really reveals the essence of a company that wasn't following any policy or procedure, but was really just shooting from the hip, and a hip that was indeed politically biased.
Yeah, if you look at a tweet from
Vivek Ramaswamy right there talking about what Twitter has done, what has been exposed there in the Twitter files. And a lot of people have a lot of questions, and it really does take some of the legal minds that are out there to tell us, how far does this go? What kind of legalities are being infringed here? What kind of, you could see things and you're like, oh, that seems really unethical, but is it illegal? And if you partner what we're seeing in the Twitter files with the depositions that have been taken in the Eric Schmidt lawsuit regarding possible collusion and corruption between big government and big tech, a lot of people have a lot of very necessary questions to ask, which is why we bring on the legal experts like our friend Mike Davis, who's the founder and president of the Article 3 Project. He's also the founder and president of the Internet Accountability Project. Mike, welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We're really excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm looking at your Twitter profile. It says you've been suspended by Twitter 5 times. Do you feel personally attacked and maybe a little vindicated by what we're finding out from the Twitter files and potentially Eric Schmidt's lawsuit?
Well, it's amazing what happens. I started a separate group called the Internet Accountability Project, which was the first group on the right to take on big tech, and we take them on antitrust, Section 230, and data privacy. And so I've been a target of big tech censorship for several years now, and Twitter has suspended me 5 times. And when I went crazy on Fox News and the media and with Congress, they backed down and said they were mistakes. And so it's very interesting. It's very interesting how that works. The problem is as we've seen, the curtain's now open on Twitter, and what we've seen is you have these woke Democrat operatives who take over these big tech platforms, and they use big tech's monopoly power to censor, silence, deplatform, and cancel conservatives and others with whom they disagree. And they do it under the guise of hatred and violence or misinformation or disinformation. But really what it comes down to is they want to use these big tech platforms' monopoly power to crush those with whom they disagree.
You know, talking about those suspensions that after you complained on Fox News, they said it was a mistake. Do the mistakes ever happen to the left? High-profile people on the left. Is there anything that indicates that what Twitter was working towards, that it didn't end up being super partisan in the way they applied it?
No, and that's exactly the problem, Annie, is it's always one-sided. It's always against conservatives. And frankly, if I weren't such a loudmouth and have connections in the media and connections in Congress, I'd still be kicked off Twitter, right? It's just, I just happen to be able to, have platforms to fight back, but it's just not good for everyday Americans that they have to fear that anything they say on these big tech platforms will get them kicked off the big tech platforms, maybe even fired from their jobs, ostracized from society. We need to end this cancel culture. And the biggest culprits of this cancel culture are these big tech platforms, Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple. It used to be their bar-fighting little brother, Twitter. But now that Elon Musk has taken over, he's really doing a lot of good things. He's a benevolent billionaire. He's doing a lot of good things to bring free speech back to the online public square. The problem is that we shouldn't have to rely on benevolent billionaires. What happens when these advertiser boycotts bring Elon Musk to his knees? What happens if he says, you know what, I'm going to keep funding Twitter, even though it's a bad investment because I believe in free speech? What happens when Google and Apple decide they want to kick Twitter out of the App Store duopoly, and Amazon wants to kick Twitter off the internet like those big tech platforms did to Parler after January 6th? They blamed Parler for the January 6th protest, even though those protests were organized on Facebook, and then they used their market power to crush this startup competitor to Twitter. They used to say, if you don't like Twitter, build your own. Well, Parler tried that. It quickly got a $1.3 billion valuation, and then it got crushed by Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple. What we need to do, Annie, is update our century-old antitrust laws so these big tech platforms do not have this gatekeeping power over online information and commerce. They should not control the online public square. And so there are bipartisan bills working their way through the House and the Senate. This is the only area, I think, with which I agree with the Biden administration that's on antitrust reform. And Republicans need to wake up. They need to get serious. They need to stop taking big tech's money, stop doing big tech's bidding, and finally break up big tech.
That's an interesting perspective here with Mike Davis. He is with the Article 3 Project and the Internet Accountability Project. He's the founder and president of both of those. If you want to learn more about the Internet Accountability Project, you can go to theiap.org. Mike, we hear a lot of, jaw-dropping revelations that have come out of these Twitter files. We've seen things that have come out of the depositions from our Attorney General, soon-to-be Senator Eric Schmidt's lawsuit. Seems very, very ethically questionable at the best of it. Let's talk about the worst of it. Is there anything that you've seen here that screams, wow, that was incredibly illegal for them to do?
Yeah, I mean, anytime the Biden White House or the FBI or the Biden Justice Department is pressuring these big tech platforms to censor, silence, deplatform, or cancel any American, that is an obvious, blatant First Amendment violation. When you have, for example, Senator Rand Paul is a medical doctor. He's a U.S. senator. He's a policymaker. He got kicked off of Google's YouTube because he questioned Tony Fauci and Tony Fauci's draconian COVID measures. And the COVIDians went crazy, and they kicked a sitting U.S. senator off of Google's YouTube. They deplatformed a sitting president, President Trump, because he said he didn't want to go to Joe Biden's inauguration. I mean, they have way too much power. They have the supreme leader of Iran on Twitter, on these big tech platforms, calling for the terrorist destruction of Israel, but we can't have Senator Rand Paul. We can't have President Trump. We can't have medical doctors who dare question Tony Fauci. In the old days, 3 years ago, it used to be that when scientists question other scientists, that was encouraged. That was the scientific method. And now with this new Democrat Party, these hardcore leftists, these Marxists who aren't liberals, they're the most illiberal people on the planet. They want to control speech and crush people who disagree with them. We don't have the scientific method anymore. When doctors questioned Tony Fauci and the COVIDians' dogma, they were deplatformed. It's insane. And fortunately, Elon Musk is doing a lot to fix this now, but how much damage was done? How many schools were closed? How many poor, oftentimes black kids were completely neglected because they didn't get the proper education. They didn't get the proper care at home. They didn't get the proper nutrition. They didn't have teachers looking out for their well-being. How many people were abused and neglected because of these COVIDian lockdowns that were pushed and peddled by big government, big tech, and big media. It's really dangerous how much power they have.
Yeah, and I don't know that the consequence of these actions will ever truly be able to be measured. I mean, it is incredibly expansive, exponential to think about all of the different topics that were targeted by the ideology of the people at Twitter. Now, one of the criticisms that I see a lot from people who follow us on our social media, we do stream on YouTube, we talk about these things, and we always know that we're running the risk of getting another strike or another slap. But a lot of people are saying, Annie, Twitter is a private company. They can choose to allow people to do and say they don't have to publish everything that goes onto their platform. What's your response to that assertion that Twitter is a private company and they can police however they choose to what people are able to do and say in that platform?
Well, could they kick black people off of Twitter? Could they kick gay people off of Twitter? I mean, just because they're a private company doesn't mean there's lawlessness. Remember, these are monopolists, right? If you look at Twitter, they absolutely dominate the market in online microblogging. You know, their closest competitors are like Getter and Truth, but those are much smaller platforms than Twitter. And they get this Section 230 immunity from Congress, and the whole point of the Section 230 immunity is to promote free speech, is to protect these online platforms so they don't get sued for defamation based upon what their users post. The whole point, again, is to promote free speech. And what these online platforms like Twitter have done is they've used Section 230. They've turned it from a free speech shield to promote free speech to a censorship sword to go censor speech they don't like. And that's just not right. These are essentially public utilities. They're the online public square, and you can't just arbitrarily discriminate against people because you don't like their viewpoint, right? There aren't other options for people, and if they're going to continue to get this antitrust amnesty, if they're going to continue to get the Section 230 immunity, if these big tech platforms are going to continue to get these government contracts, then they need to be good corporate citizens as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So last question I have for you, Mike Davis, who is the founder and president of the Article 3 Project, as well as the Internet Accountability Project, is the practical application, the realistic action that can be taken by a Republican House or anybody else. I don't know if it goes to the Supreme Court or what happens with Eric Schmidt's lawsuit. Where do you see the true actionable direction that these revelations should point the country into?
There are a few places they should go. Number one, if you were censored or silenced, shadow banned, deplatformed based upon any government actor, whether it's the Biden White House, Fauci, the FBI, pressuring big tech, you absolutely have a First Amendment claim under a 1988 claim against that government actor for their First Amendment violation of you. Number two, if your listeners go to theiap.org/war room, theiap.org/war room, there are 6 bipartisan antitrust reforms working their way through the House and Senate right now that can get passed and signed into law. Think about it this way. If Google competed against YouTube instead of acquired YouTube, it is much less likely they would be censoring Americans. They would be competing for Americans and not abusing them with censorship. So that's one thing that we can look at, and people should call their members of Congress, both their home state senators and their U.S. representative in the House at 202-224-3121, 202-224-3121, and tell them to support these 6 bipartisan bills working their way through the House and Senate right now. And long term, we need to look at either a legislative repeal of Section 230 or a judicial fix of Section 230, because it is essentially government-sponsored censorship. That's what Section 230 enables. Is these big tech monopolists are getting a huge government subsidy in the form of Section 230 to censor Americans, and that cannot continue.
If I can follow up, just one question that was posted here by a comment from Edward said, if Section 230 was removed, you would see way, way more content being removed because Twitter would then become liable for everything posted on their platform. Is this person's understanding? Is that accurate?
Well, maybe, but they're doing it already, right? Maybe they would focus more on taking down the child pornography and focus less on censoring conservatives. Mm-hmm. They have plenty of censors, and maybe what you do is you have Section 230 immunity for the smaller platforms, maybe up to a $600 million market cap. And then, if they can have Section 230 immunity, you fix it so they can't do political censorship. So you have to clarify what otherwise objectionable would mean in Section 230. So it doesn't mean you can just censor people because you don't like their political viewpoints. And then if you have a market cap over $600 million, something like, I'm sorry, 600, like 600, maybe $600 billion, so that way you're not giving Section 230 immunity. You're taking off the training wheels for Google and Amazon and Facebook and these other massive platforms that don't need Uncle Sam's continued coddling.
Yeah. Thank you for your time today, Mike Davis. I'm going to direct people to theiap.org for more information on what you're doing. And we love seeing you on Fox News, and we're grateful that you gave us some of your time this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Mike Davis, the founder and president of the Article 3 Project, as well as the Internet Accountability Project. He has been paying attention to this for quite some time, and he will continue to be, and we will continue to have him on as these developments occur. Let's take a quick break. A reminder, tomorrow, Wednesday, it's a food drive. I don't care what the weather is. People still need to eat, and we still need to help. Let's not rely and wait for programs to be initiated and the right people to get into the offices. If your person didn't win and you think that everything's going to hell in a handbasket, well, fill that handbasket full of goods and bring it to the Annie Frey Show food drive at the West Clay Street in St. Charles food drive tomorrow, because guess what? You can be a part of the solution. And you can join us in doing so. And we're going to be there noon to 3 tomorrow, West Clay Street, St. Charles, Ruler Foods, helping those who need it. Be a part of a good thing tomorrow. We'll be back in just a minute. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
What's your favorite four-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our four-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Water Sweets Soap Company, and that Sweets is S-W-E-E-T-S, like sugar sweet. Water Sweets Soap Company. Wonderful gift opportunity, part of my favorite things here this Christmas season. I am a customer of theirs and have been for years, and I love how natural their products are and how their products are made right here in the Metro East. If you're looking for a gift for somebody and you're looking for something specific, let me direct you to the exact product that I have bought for loved ones in my life and that I buy for myself. It's the Sugar Scrub. It is wonderful, and I was shopping for a bunch of people in my family this weekend at Water Sweet Soap Company, and there was a woman in there, and she was telling a story about how she had the sugar scrub in her shower, and her husband was using her sugar scrub, and she's like, dude, this is my sugar scrub. So she was actually in there to get him his own. It's that wonderful. As soon as you use it, you're going to go, this is what Annie's been talking about this whole time. I love the energy scent. But they also use several other products. I use their signature body bar and their hydrating hand lotion. Go to the Water Sweet Soap Company in Edwardsville or the brand new location open this weekend in O'Fallon, Illinois, or save 10% online right now by putting in the promo code Annie at Water Sweets, S-W-E-E-T-S, watersweetssoap.com.
There's no gift that's more beautiful, more versatile, and more meaningful than a beautiful piece of jewelry. And there's no better place to shop than Diamonds Direct, where celebrating memorable moments is our specialty. This holiday season, we've put together our most impressive selection of can't-miss gifts. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands for every taste and every price range. And don't worry about higher prices and high interest rates. At Diamonds Direct, we've got your back with our guaranteed best value pricing and 3 years zero interest financing on any holiday purchase. That's right, zero interest financing. So that $5,000 Eternity Band is just over $138 a month. With this special offer, everything's affordable. So come to Diamonds Direct. Let our experts help you choose that perfect showstopper gift for this holiday season. Get holiday store hours, directions, finance details, and see our all-new online gift guide at diamondsdirect.com on approved credit. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. Avoid giving useless knickknacks this holiday season and look for durable items that will last for years. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling and Insulation Studio. Save up to $900 in utility rebates and see if you qualify for 0% financing on a new high-efficiency HVAC system. For details and to get into your comfort zone, visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 is happy to partner with SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. Your contribution supports St. Louis area families.
Matt Holliday is with me, the new bench coach for the St. Louis Cardinals. Let's talk a little bit about SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital and how did this all start?
All of our kids had spent some sort of time in the NICU, early on, had some sort of health issues that were very stressful and then very, as young parents, make you really nervous and are very difficult. So we decided this is where we really wanted to put our time and our finances and our energy behind kids that are sick and injured and families that are dealing with the hardship of having to deal with that and the other siblings. And so that's kind of how it all started.
Text 20357 to give a Christmas gift to the Tree of Hope. That's 20357. Or go to 971talk.com/Cardinal Glennon.
I can still shut down the party.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Hang with anybody.
Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
Whiskey and red wine, champagne all night, little scotch on the rocks, and I'm fine. But when I taste tequila, baby, I still see ya cutting up the floor in a sorority t-shirt.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. A reminder, Ruler Foods, West Clay Street tomorrow. Excited to participate in a food drive, and I need your help. And I've bragged about you, and I really need you to show up tomorrow for that Ruler Foods food drive so that we can do the very best work in helping those people who are here in our neighborhoods who need food. I mean, think like the most basic thing in life. You need to be able to feed yourself. And there are more people going to food banks now than have in quite some time. Shopping, if you go grocery shopping, you know that everything is becoming more expensive. We've discussed this before, but I think it bears repeating that, Brad, if you're looking at your grocery bill and you yourself are paring down or modifying what it is that you are used to shopping for because prices are up. I saw a report today, I think that inflation is at 7.1%. If you're paying 7.1% higher, a lot of people have to cut 7% of what they would normally buy out of their grocery cart.
Yeah.
That means that if you don't have, if you can't afford that, and that's the 7% that is basic needs for yourself, for your family, for your children, that puts people in need. And it also makes the people who are having to make those cuts and pay attention to their pennies a little bit closer, potentially less able to be as generous, especially this time of year, than they normally are. This is even more of a reason to shop at Ruler Foods, which offers, without having to cut the coupons, discounted prices on great brands. You go shop there, save money, make a donation, and step into helping people. When we as conservatives often talk about smaller government, it's a match made in heaven, and it's an opportunity to help people who are right here.
Yeah. Yeah. You talk about the times being hard and chance like that. One of the things that you can do, like if you really do, if you have that desire in your heart to help somebody, maybe there's something that, I say a luxury item. I'll give an example of a luxury item for myself. A cup of coffee. I like to go through. They just opened a brand new Scooters by my house, and I love going through Scooters.
I went and got my Scooters latte and oatmeal this morning, and like 5 people, and they were like, "Hey, you going to work?" I was like, "I am."
They have started to recognize me at my location too. It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you didn't get the Americano this time." I was like, "Yeah, I wanted to change it up."
I think that they do that to a lot of people. It's just a really, really,
Yeah.
a really great experience.
But one of the things that I could do is I could look at my budget and one of those quote unquote luxury items for whatever time it would take to make up for the offset the cost of going to Ruler Foods and get some items that somebody that was struggling with hunger couldn't get themselves. I could not get that coffee for a couple days and then offset that cost and use that money that I would have used on myself and use it to help somebody else too.
I think that it's important to assess rough times, and I watched White Christmas on Sunday with my family, and Bing Crosby sings the song "Blessings" to Rosemary Clooney, and if talking about if you can't sleep, count your blessings instead of sheep, and it's a great little song, and Bing Crosby sings it, so in his voice, how could it be bad? This is naturally where people come on and be like, "Do you know what kind of man Bing Crosby was to his kids?" Yes, I know. His voice is still Bing Crosby's voice, and I enjoy it. Buzzkill, right? It strikes me as so important today and every day to assess what your blessings are in life. And if you really boil down the things in your life that you consider to be blessings, it's usually people. It's usually the relationships that you have, and then the ability to foster those relationships. A lot of times we do that with things. Certainly at Christmas time, you're thinking about gifts. You're spending time thinking about people who you want to make smile when they open the gift, make them feel cared for and loved. And it's important to take the minutes necessary, whether it's while you're laying in bed and you can't sleep, or if it's right now while you're driving in your car, to think about the things in your life that if everything else fell apart, what are the things that would be left that would make you go, okay, I can do this today and I can do it tomorrow because I have these things in my life. And then after that, you think about the rest and you say to yourself, that stuff is extra. That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with participating in it or pursuing it or having it, but just to understand the difference between the things that are the most sacred blessings in your life and then everything else that's outside of it. And when you think about your blessings, consider the blessings that you have, the security or the safety that you feel in your life, that there are people who are living in a stone's throw's distance from where you are right now who may not have that security. I talk a lot about small government. I talk about the idea that the strength of this country lies in the hands of you, us, the people who are working hard, trying to make ends meet for themselves on a daily basis. We talk about the price of groceries, of course. We talk about the price of gas, and we talk about, your 401ks and all that. Like, if you think about all of that, and then you set that to the side, nearby so it's accessible, but set it aside for a second, think about not knowing where your next meal is coming from. And then think about taking the red jersey off that you put on in the morning or the blue jersey off that you put on in the morning. And then we all look the same and we all need to eat. We all need to be able to feed our families. And when times are tough, which we talk about a lot on this show, we talk about ways to make it better. And generally speaking, those ways to make it better always kind of funnel through the path of the right person in office at the right time and lamenting the fact that the wrong person is in office and making things worse. It is important to pause and look over there at those blessings, that understanding of your life that we've just set aside for a second, and understand that there are people who don't have that security. There are people who, during the rough times, the difficult times, do not have the ability to get from point A to point B the way that maybe you do, or maybe the way that I do. That's where we get to step up and be a part of a solution ourselves. and not shake fists at the sky because a certain policy or bill isn't getting through. The bill is 800 pages and people are voting yes on it and they haven't read it. That your tax dollars that you're working really hard for in your job or jobs are going to pay for things that have nothing to do with you, for people who did nothing to earn them. It's frustrating. It's exhausting. In many cases, it feels un-American, but the most American thing that you can do right now is, even in the midst of knowing that all of that exists, that you can still help somebody tomorrow with a canned good or with a basic household item, that you can actually be a part of that. And when you show up tomorrow at Ruler Foods at West Clay Street and you donate whatever that is that you can afford, it does not have to be crates and pallets of things, although we will happily accept those as well. You can show up with a $5 shopping spree in Ruler Foods right there. Bring it out to us. You have been a part of a solution. You've put your feet in action behind the words that you speak, that I speak. We participate in the solution. That's where we get our power. And we hope that tomorrow you will come out and join us at the West Clay Street Ruler Foods and be a part of something good. And when you walk away, you'll feel that goodness in your heart. Let's get the whole crew back in here in just a minute. Don't go away.
The real estate market continues to make headlines for buyers and sellers. The big dilemma for sellers is finding the right buyer willing to pay the right price. Hi, Mark Cox here. And while most agents will make big promises, Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty will actually present you with an upfront written guarantee. It states Gloria will sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she will buy it, guaranteed in writing. Does your agent compare to that? Gloria's able to make this bold offer because she already has the buyers. So before you list your home, do your research, get to know Gloria Liu like I have. Call today, ask about her no obligation cash offer program or her guaranteed sold program. It's 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and the seller must agree on the price and the possession date. There's something very refreshing about going into a place that the people are just genuinely nice. That's Fountains Family Dentistry in Fairview Heights, Illinois. They know that you're not there because you want to be at the dentist. Nobody really wants to go to the dentist. It's something you have to do because you know you need to get your cleanings done. And if it's been a while since you've been to the dentist, Fountains Family Dentistry, they're not going to judge you. They know that COVID's been a weird time, or even if it's beyond that, check them out, fountainsfamilydentistry.com. You're not going to find a more friendly place than the people who are there, and I think that's by design. Dr. Ty Parker is just a super nice guy, and he surrounds himself. He creates an atmosphere there that you're going to be welcomed in. So go to fountainsfamilydentistry.com. You'll realize all the things that they do there beyond just teeth cleanings, but that's where I recommend you start, especially if you haven't been for a while. Check them out, Fairview Heights, Illinois, easy to get to from either side of the river. And right there online at fountainsfamilydentistry.com.
Hi, Thomas Helbig here with the Retirement Advisory Group. We'd like to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I grew up right here in St. Louis, part of a large family, and that's what makes the holidays so special. The things we hold in our hearts, not in our hands. It's the people, family, friends, and the personal relationships that grow stronger with the passing of time. In the past 35 years, we've become part of many lasting relationships, and we've made a lot of friends in and around St. Louis, and that just can't be taken away. So as we turn the page and put yet another year in the books, I know a lot of us have endured some difficult times this past year. And for those of you who may have lost loved ones, our hearts go out to you. Here's hoping next year will bring even more joy and blessings to you, and remember the important things to be thankful for. So once again, from all of us at the Retirement Advisory Group, we'd like to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And from me and my family, I'm Thomas Helbig.
KFTK FM Florissant.
Driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group.
97.1 FM Talk.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
They're not buying what he's selling. Lisa Brady, Fox News. FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried has said he never tried to commit fraud. Federal prosecutors say he intentionally defrauded investors in his cryptocurrency exchange.
He charged that from 2019 until earlier this year,
Bankman-Fried and his co-conspirators stole billions of dollars from FTX customers. He used that money for his personal benefit, including to make personal investments and to cover expenses and debts of his hedge fund, Alameda Research.
The U.S. Attorney Damian Williams in New York calls it one of the biggest frauds in American history. Bankman-Fried is also facing charges from securities regulators. The federal charges include illegal campaign contributions, and some lawmakers have questioned the timing of his arrest yesterday on the eve of a House hearing on the FTX collapse. Williams says the timing was up to law enforcement. A big crowd gathering on the White House South Lawn, where President Biden is set to sign the Respect for Marriage Act. And leading off the White House briefing a short time ago, singer Cyndi Lauper, a longtime advocate for the LGBTQ community, offering thanks.
For once, our families, mine and a lot of my friends and people you know, sometimes your neighbors, we can rest easy tonight because our families are validated.
The bill the president is about to sign gives protection to same-sex unions under federal law, though it stops short of requiring states to allow gay marriage. A winter storm on track to affect some 2/3 of the country by the time it's finally done has a wide area under blizzard warnings from Montana into western Nebraska and Colorado. As parts of the plains assess damage, a tornado hitting the Oklahoma town of Wayne early today. No injuries or deaths reported. America's listening to Fox News.
Get ready for holiday feast season with Pepto-Bismol.
Uncle Derek's here with his famous fried turkey. Hey, Aunt Mary brought the mac and cheese. Donna's here with the potato salad.
Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief for unexpected stomach upsets. So enjoy the holidays. Pepto has you covered, no matter who made the potato salad.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Dell Technologies' Days of Deals for Business start now with fresh, limited quantity deals on tech to drive productivity. Save on select performance laptops and desktops powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything, and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Air Comfort Service, heating and cooling, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Cloudy and windy going through our Tuesday afternoon with increasing rain, maybe a rumble of thunder here and there. 55 for the high, the winds from the south. Tonight, rain and some spot thunderstorms, nothing strong or severe. Come to an end before midnight, 50. Wednesday, partly sunny, still mild, 58. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, partly to mostly cloudy skies, but highs only in the 30s. This is 97.1 FM Talk, Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hey, it's Annie, and I want you to participate in our December food drive with Ruler Foods. I'm so excited about this, but I need your help. This time of year can be especially difficult for those who are challenged to provide for their families. Your generous support of the St. Louis Area Food Bank will help provide nutritious food for our neighbors in need. You can find a list of the best items to donate by going to 971talk.com. You can pick these right up at Ruler Foods on West Clay Street in St. Charles, where the Annie Frey Show will be live December 14th from noon to 3 p.m. Can't wait to see you.
If you own a home in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes stlouis.com at 314-782-8000 and get your cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant homes, inherited homes, fixer-uppers, beautiful homes, even the tenant who won't pay the rent apartment. Google us. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out our best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to our website, chrisbuyshomes.stlouis.com, or call Chris at 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000, and get the offer you've been waiting for. 314-782-8000.
AirComfortService.com/insulation. They can talk to you about your insulated attic and whether it is doing the trick for you. Maybe it isn't. And when you reach out to Air Comfort Service to talk to them about their new insulation services, you can maybe improve the HVAC system that's working in your house without even having to touch the HVAC system. That's kind of nice. 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. 9 out of 10 homes are under insulated. Think about all of the energy that you're paying to heat your home right now while the weather is chilly outside and it's escaping through that attic. You need to make sure that the insulation in your home is up to par, and Air Comfort Service are the experts who are there ready to do it. The harder your HVAC system has to work, the higher your energy costs are going to be. And with energy costs rising, protect this part of your home right now. You can increase your energy savings, increase your comfort, and even have better indoor air quality. 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com/insulation.
Give the gift that's hard to wrap, but easy to give. The Steel Holiday Gift Guide has outdoor power tools and more for everyone on your list. Visit your local Steel dealer or go online to stihlusa.com/gift guide. Find yours.
This holiday season, give the gift of life. Donate blood at the Odyssey Holiday Heroes Blood Drive Tuesday the 20th through Friday the 23rd at YMCA locations all over the region. Make an appointment at redcross.org.
Filtering the BS pushed by the mainstream media.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We're glad that you're here. Reminder, we're going to be at Ruler Foods in St. Charles on West Clay Street tomorrow, noon to 3, broadcasting live, rain or shine, helping create a wonderful collection of things to donate to the St. Louis Area Food Bank this holiday season. So please, please, please put it on your calendar. Go swing by on your lunch break. If you don't have anything to donate with you right now or to pull out of your pantry, you can just go into Ruler Foods there, get great prices on the goods that they have in store, and make somebody's day. I have, this is so funny, a BuzzFeed article, 10 new parenting trends I'm willing to trade in, and the 10 old ones that'll gladly take their place. BuzzFeed, Ryan, you've got 3 kids of your own. How confident do you feel like BuzzFeed is going to guide and steer your parenting in the direction of trends that are done and old and the new ones that should be ushered in?
Well, because it's BuzzFeed, I'm going to take a random guess and say here that I am not going to agree with most of anything they would ever say. However, the topic that they're talking about sounds like one that I would be interested to see, because they're talking about new trends, which typically are not great, and going back to old ones, but I don't know exactly how far back they're going. So
here I will go through the list. 10 to retire and 10 to bring back.
Okay.
Let's see how accurate BuzzFeed is with these 20 suggestions. Number 1, retire. Gentleish parenting. Gentleish parenting is best described as someone who says their parenting methods are in the name of gentle parenting, but are somehow not achieving the same goals, whether it's not setting firm boundaries or enforcing boundaries without trying to understand the emotions behind actions. Half-butting, I say the other word.
Half-butting, yeah. That's what we all say.
Something that's for the greater good may do more harm than good. Gentleish parenting.
I like where this is going so far. Getting rid of gentleish parenting.
Thumbs up from me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, okay, but they're
Frey
not.
kids are like, why don't we bring back gentleish parenting?
Yeah, every kid in the world is like, hey, how about a little more gentleish parenting?
I pretty much have 2 modes. The first one is, I'm here to party. You know the rules. Follow the rules. Let's have fun. And the second one, my kids would refer to bringing the heat.
The bringing the heat part I get.
I have taken up with my 12-year-old son, soon to be 13. Oh my goodness. anytime we have something that has instructions that needs to be put together, I make him do it. I don't care what it looks like when it's over. I make him do it. We bought some patio furniture for the new deck when it was on clearance, and I was putting it was, I think, 5 pieces, like a little wicker love seat, and then 2 chairs, and then a table. And I said, "Here's a chair. Put it together." I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. I'm like, "Here are the instructions. Take all day. Put it together." Anybody can put that together if you can read and if you have patience. He can read. He does not have the patience, but he needs to learn to have the patience.
Is he mechanically inclined?
He's very smart, and he can totally do those types of things.
Sure, but does he like doing that kind of stuff?
No kids like doing anything.
Oh man, some of my kids, they love working with their hands and stuff that I hate. I hate that stuff.
How old's your oldest?
8.
You're in for.
We haven't gotten there yet.
You're in for your a crude awakening, and because your kids, and I say this as I have a 10-year-old, and 10-year-old's a girl. That's a little bit different, of course, because boys and girls are different. But there is a time your kids grow into this. I think it kind of starts maybe around 3, give or take, and it probably goes till about 9 or 10, where they just want to be helpful. They might go off the beaten path and do something wrong, and you got to bring them back on. But the goal is mostly to be in the good graces of mom and dad and to be helpful. And then there's this thing that happens where they want to be the opposite of helpful all of the time. I told her I was going to tell this story on the air, and she did the same thing. But my 10-year-old Jensen was in the kitchen the other day in our living room and kitchen connect, and I could tell she was maybe having a day. We all have days. She's having a day. And I was going to tell her something completely innocuous and I was just going to tell her something. And I looked at her and I said, "Jensen?" And she goes, "What?" And I was like, my jaw dropped open and my eyes got real big. And then she got upset and she walked out of the room. Like, I wasn't going to ask her to do anything. I hadn't really said anything to her since she got home, but she was having a day. And she was 10, and we're in that, it's the time. And I said to her, later, I go, "Jensen, I was just going to tell you about something that had happened at work that day or something." She's like, "Oh." I go, "You're going to need to tone that down a little bit." She goes, "Okay," because she knew. And in that moment, I didn't go after her because I could tell there was more to that story, and I knew literally none of it. And then I kind of felt like I knew how my husband feels sometimes. But this idea of kids at that age that are there to be your handy helpers. They like to decorate for Christmas. Now it's like everything you ask them is like, oh.
Oh, I hate to hear that there's a cutoff for that age. Because we have something in our house called the big light. And the big light can only be turned on in the living room from upstairs. So it's, "Hey kids, turn on the big light." "Okay, Dad."
That's going to go away.
Or turn off the big light.
That's why I keep having kids, so I always have somebody who's helpful. Just manufacturing mini slaves. But no, and the thing is that it's default to, it's that push, they're learning to be independent. And they kind of want to be in charge of their own time and do their own thing. And it's like all of a sudden one day they're just little antagonists in your house. And I always try to push past that. So the idea now is to put furniture together. We bought a Winnie the Pooh from Lowe's, and the pieces that it comes in, it's unbelievable. You just take out this Pooh colored, Winnie the Pooh colored, Pooh colored blob of pieces. And I said, "Here, put this together."
Yeah.
And there's the whole time he's going through it, "I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. I can't even read this." And it was the Spanish instructions. It's like, keep digging, kiddo. And the point is not to get Winnie the Pooh together. The point is to make him go through the process of having to spend time to read directions and to do something. But yeah, that gentleish parenting thing.
I think everybody's over that. If BuzzFeed is over it, then everybody's over it.
Bring back family dinners every night. Number 2. Sitting down to dinner together at the same time seems like such a hard task nowadays because of the heinous schedules we all juggle to make sense out of our days. Still, it was bonding time that was built into every day once upon a time, and we could all do with more of that in our chaotic lifestyles.
Good goal. I don't know that we can do that because of just the way that we live, all of us. But
we have family dinners.
I like
not every night,
the goal,
but 4 to 5 nights a week.
Yeah, I think
that's
we do
really
too.
good. That's hard to do, and that's really good. And it's the effort that matters. You're trying to do it. You don't toss it aside.
And sitting down at a table and staring at each other and talking is important. I highly, highly suggest that. Retire. Staycations. Many people who do like to travel learn to settle with staycations during the pandemic, but for parents, it's long been a solution to tackling the expensive and sometimes stressful reality that comes with traveling with kids. But those who have the means deserve to try the opportunity, even if your toddler screams their head off on a 5-hour plane ride about it. That's not to say not to be courteous and conscious of the other people around you or with yourself in those extra tough situations.
I'm fine with retiring staycations because I never really understood that anyway. Either go on vacation or don't. Staycation seemed like a excuse to go to the zoo one day.
Especially if your kids are there. Try to figure that one out. Number 4, bring back basic birthdays. Kids' birthday parties have become such a production. There was nothing wrong with having a few people over to have cake and hang out. The simpler, the better, and the more people who could participate.
Darn right. I wanted to say something else, but yes. I wanted to say
Heck
but
yeah.
right.
Yeah. Ass right?
Now that I'm thinking about that.
Retire. Praise the Lord. Gender reveals.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that it shouldn't matter, it's just another unnecessary enforcement of the gender binary that you can easily pass on. BuzzFeed, I'm going to set your reasoning behind and put it over here. But I cannot, if you invite me to your gender reveal and I love you as a person, I will go because I love you, not because it's a gender reveal.
No, I'm going to go the other way on this simply because of what BuzzFeed said.
Right.
I want to see gender reveals bigger and bigger to reinforce the idea of gender.
Ryan wants to enforce the gender binary.
We should do a gender reveal for Ryan.
Yeah, come out, bring out your cannons. We'll see which one, if it's a color, it's a blue color or a pink confetti that comes out of the cannon.
And then we'll know something about you.
And then I'll know what I'm wearing to work the next day.
Number 6, bring back playing games together. Whether they're board games or video games, that time connecting and navigating something is meaningful to growing kids, even if they've grown about it. There's time for solitary activity, but it's important to learn your go-tos for family time.
Agree, but man, do I have a tough time actually sitting down and playing a board game anymore.
Why?
I used to love them, and I just don't.
Like
I don't know.
Old-fashioned board games?
Yeah, I try to play them, and maybe it's because my kids are still too little to play the more adult games. But
how would it go with the 4 of us? Hannah, you should come in here. How would it go with the 4 of us playing a board game together? Would that be fun?
Yes.
They're always fun. The problem is that the whole time I'm playing a board game, now, because I'm a middle-aged man, I'm looking at my watch.
For what?
I don't know, whatever else I could be getting done, because I feel like, I could be, 6 hours to Risk is just too much. And I mean the board game
Is
Risk.
there anything other than Risk, maybe? I'm a big fan of Sorry. Classic board game. Love it.
I like the idea of Sorry. Never really loved Sorry. But Scrabble or something like that's a little bit quicker game, I think I could still do. I want to get there, Annie. It's a good goal.
Scrabble is not quick.
Ooh, yeah.
Scrabble's not as long as Risk, though, or Monopoly.
You're picking the longest possible board games
I'm
that you
picking
can
the
play.
most popular board games.
I don't think that Monopoly and Risk are the most commonly played in the household. Like, people have rules against playing Monopoly with their family. Go up.
Settlers of Catan.
I don't like board games. I like with a passion. The only thing that I dislike more than board games when it comes to games is card games. I don't like card games.
I am
the
best Pinochle player you will ever meet.
I played Pinochle for like 4 times with my parents. It's like, this is ridiculous, and I don't like it.
Too much thinking?
No, I just don't like card games.
Well, then Pinochle is not for you. Pinochle and Euchre.
That was the other one we played.
Yep, great games. Number 7, retire. Bulldozer parenting. A lot of bulldozer parents are truly well-meaning and try to protect their kids, but take it a bit too far by eliminating anything that could cause their kid to struggle or feed badly. They rob them of the ability to learn how to cope with those situations, which makes it worse when they do inevitably encounter something negative that they have to deal with on their own.
Yep, and they think their kids are never wrong either.
It's very interesting to watch bulldozer parenting intersect with sports. Sports is supposed to be like an equalizer of people. You have talent. You have work ethic. Some people have more talent and don't have work ethic. Some people have really great work ethic with less talent. There is we coach junior high. work ethic will win over talent at that age if talent isn't willing to work. And then when you get over that, talent starts to have a little bit heavier piece of the pie. But bulldozer parents who come in, oh man, I've seen some bulldozer parents, like they take over everything.
Mm-hmm. And they think that their kid is going to be a Division I star at whatever it is, even if their kid is super average.
And it doesn't matter. And honestly, if your kid is that great, you don't have to bulldoze.
Yeah, you just let it happen.
I think there's something to be said for teaching your kid how to deal with adverse situations and failure. I think a lot of what we see in society today is a result of bulldozer and lawnmower parenting, where the kids just have never experienced failure in their life and they don't know how to react to it. And so you get almost childish reactions to them not doing well.
What's a lawnmower parent?
It's like a bulldozer parent, only not as
well. He's
low to the
from
ground.
the industry.
Yeah, he's from the industry.
In that industry.
It's a parent who keeps their grass pretty nice.
Can't stop.
Doesn't have a
talking
whole
about
lot
it.
to do with the kids, but
Number 8, bring back time outdoors. We've all gotten too good at holing up indoors. Childhood is all about exploring and developing a relationship with nature. Through that exploration, let your kid play with worms in the garden or water the flowers, play sports or have a picnic, but find a reason to break out.
100% agree. Even in the winter, we will bundle the kids up at this time
Throw
of
'em
year
outside.
and go, you are outside now for at least a half an hour.
How much of that time do you spend out there with him?
Very little.
None. I hate it. Outside in the cold. Outside during the summer, let's go.
My favorite times growing up were in the summer playing in the creek. We grew up in the country. We had a little creek that ran through there, and we would just go down there and jump in the mud and make dams and all these other things and just play games in the creek, and it was a blast.
I wonder if the Mason-Dixon line is where it divides creek and crick. Because I say creek. And
I say creek.
We played in the creek as well. Number 9, retire, stage, and it says in parentheses, or sports or social media parenting. Stage parenting. There are plenty of kids who look truly happy and engaged in making content for social media or performing in some other arena like dance, music, or sports. And that's beautiful for them. It's incredibly uncomfortable, however, when you come across a page where you can tell a child is uncomfortable or reluctant to make content. Oh my gosh. If that's not your kid, accept it instead of insisting and contributing to more significant issues in turn.
Get back in here and make this Insta reel.
Oh, man, I'm just realizing that that's what a stage parent is now.
What?
Because it used to be a stage parent was for stage. Now they're you're
Explain
talking
what
about.
you mean.
Well, in the past, you were performing in front of a usually live audience. Now that is probably accurate that parents are pushing kids to make online content.
Ugh, that makes me sick.
For sure.
That's gross.
My kids will have athletic successes. And I am very hesitant to share that on social media because there are people who I follow on social media who post about their kids and their sports. And it's 99% of the posts are like, little Johnny hit 2 home runs in his game today and struck out 3 players and threw a no-hitter and blah, blah, blah. Like these wild accomplishments that she should absolutely, or he, it happens for men and women, it's not just a mom thing, that they are bragging on their kids, and these kids, they should be incredibly overflowing with pride for their children. But the majority of their posts are bragging about the things that their kids did. And I have to think to myself, there must be success that these kids are having that don't get bragged about, but there have to also be failures in there. And I wonder how... I'm always skeptical if I put things out there about my kids. I don't want to be owning my kids' successes because they're their successes. And my kids are not on social media. So any type of accolades that my kids are getting on social media are for me, almost, not really for my kids. I'll put like a happy birthday message to my kids, and I always let my kids read through the comments. They don't have social media. They don't have phones. They don't have their own devices. I have no intention of getting them that at all in the near future. But the idea of using your children as a way to accessorize yourself with all of their accomplishments, like your kids have to have their own accomplishments. And I just hesitate to be braggy about my kids. I'm probably going to go through my social media on the break and be like, did I just do that?
Yeah, I don't really mind that as much. I mean, it can get excessive, but it's when I thought the stage parenting was pushing the kid to be doing that
do the
stuff
content,
rather
yeah.
than the parent be
Like,
doing it.
be in this video. And I've seen videos or TikToks or whatever of like a little baby, like, and the mom wants to do a dance with him, and the baby's just like confused and doesn't know, and that is just uncomfortable.
Well, and using their successes too for content, there is a difference between being able to post and be proud of your kids and want to share a success that your kid has had. That being out there, that's one thing. But it's just kind of the consistency that you see.
Yeah, it's like the parents that are living vicariously through their kids' athletic accomplishments.
And that is definitely something you see a lot. Number 10, bring back chore charts.
Yeah, we're doing that already.
We do chore charts.
We don't stick to them, but it's nice to have them up there.
Yes, it's kind of the same thing in our house. For some reason, people seem to feel off-put by giving their kids regular chores to do. I do not have that problem. While some of us were asked to handle more than we could growing up, that's not to say that reasonable, scalable responsibilities are beyond kids' capabilities. It is very, very shocking what your kids are actually capable of, like once you push them into doing it and you don't make it optional. And also, not every chore that they do has to be rewarded. Turn the lights on, kiddo. You see that?
Yep.
Go sweep off the deck. Let's come back with the rest of this list, 11 through 20. Things to retire and things to bring back. You feeling pretty good about BuzzFeed so far?
Actually, yeah.
Shockingly so. Leave us your comments on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat, plus the live chat poll. Do you or will you trade in cryptocurrency? Yes, no, or I don't understand it at all. Hannah will have the results at 2:45. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Are boomers more cringy than millennials? Is Gen Z more woke than Gen X? Is there any hope of bridging our generational divides? Odyssey's new podcast, It's Generational, brings together actual people from these 4 generations for real conversations about today's issues. I'm Lauren Barry, and I'm inviting you to join our mission to dump stereotypes in the trash and really understand each other.
I think these conversations just foretell such a better, richer emotional vocabulary for talking about these things.
Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
AAMCO.
So let's talk about Stewart's American Mortgage and how he can help you with your economic situation right now. A lot of people are looking at the higher interest rates in their credit cards and saying, what am I going to do with this debt? How do I get it to go down? A lot of people considering a cash out refinance, but you've heard that rates have gone up. Well, they have come down here in the last 100 days or so. Might be a good time to reach out to Stewie and talk about a mortgage refinance. If you've gotten one of those mortgages in the last 100 days and rates have gone down and gone down and gone down, when you use the bagel loan at Stewart's American Mortgage, you don't pay any fees to go through that process. They're not tucked away. They don't exist. You do direct business with Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage, and that's how he can make it so that you don't have to pay for any of those fees that all the other lenders out there are going to charge you for. It's called the bagel loan, and you can only get it with Stewart's American Mortgage. If you're looking to do a cash out refinance, if you just want to refinance down from a higher mortgage rate that you just got, or if you're looking to purchase a home, talk to him about the lower interest rates that are out there right now. Call him at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. You can Google the bagel loan and MLS number 226715.
Quarters, just 25 cents. That's hardly anything, right? But Ken and Lori Heisey and their team at Heisey Advisory Group see quarters a little bit differently. A quarter is a lot when it's a quarter of your retirement savings. Do you want to pay 25% or more in taxes during your retirement? Ken and Lori can create a plan to help address taxes in retirement. And if the only time you think about taxes is when you file them, you do not have a tax strategy. But it's not too late to get one with help from Ken and Lori Heisey. Act now to make sure you're not paying a quarter, a dime, even a penny more than you should. Call Ken and Lori Heisey and the team at Heisey Advisory Group at 314-328-6000 to schedule your personalized strategy session. A quarter saved is a quarter earned. Call 314-328-6000. Call them right now. That's 314-328-6000.
Firm cannot give tax advice. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. 97.1 is happy to partner with SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. Your contribution supports St. Louis area families. Text 20357 to give a Christmas gift to the Tree of Hope. That's 20357. This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Talking a little parenting here. BuzzFeed, of all places, with the top 10 lists of things to retire and things to bring back. And Ryan and I are both parents and shockingly agree with a lot of what BuzzFeed has said so far.
It may be the only time we could ever say that.
Yeah. Number 11, retire. Tablets at restaurants.
Yeah, any sort of...
Do you guys have devices?
We do, but they're just mainly for vacations. Long-term trips. Anything over an hour or so, probably, okay, now you can watch something.
Depending on where you dine, hearing people in a restaurant can be hard enough without having to talk over Baby Shark for the 100th time. Ironic to me, very ironic to me, that BuzzFeed's suggestion about retiring tablets has nothing to do with the benefit or drawbacks for the kid.
That is funny, because it is, okay, when you see a kid, and I'm going to offend by saying this because people do this.
Can you tell us the name of the person?
Yeah.
Sounds like you know.
Sharon. Listen up, Sharon. When you see a little kid, and I'm talking little, like 1-2 years old, just glued to that tablet when they're either in a grocery store or a restaurant or anywhere, it makes me so sad. Because you are wiring that kid's brain to need stimulation constantly at a very young age.
Have you ever seen him have... Now, the other thing, too, that I will mention here is that there are sometimes kids who use these types of things because maybe they are on the spectrum, maybe it helps them be in public places. That cannot possibly be the majority of people who are using these devices. So I don't want to say, like, every kid using a tablet is ruining their future, or a parent who's letting them. There are circumstances that are outside of, what we're talking about here that would be the exception to the rule. But I've seen many times families sitting down at a table and every child has a tablet and they have headphones.
Yeah, that too.
Ugh, it makes me sad for them. And I don't know if we're going to get to one of these later on in this list, but the idea of sitting at a table at a restaurant in a public place and respecting the fact that you are in a public place surrounded by other people, that is an important skill to learn. Even more so for my family, learning how to sit in church, I think, is the best, because you have to sit for an hour quiet and listen to something else. Even if you're not, as a small child, like particularly paying attention or like really interested in hanging on every word that the pastor is speaking, you still have to respect the room and the environment. And in a tablets all the time, devices all the time world, kids don't learn how to do that. How are they going to grow into being employees and support themselves? It seems as though that would be a major drawback.
Yeah, and I can't say either that I always retire my own devices when I'm sitting at the table. I'll look at my cell phone. I just am cognizant that I'm trying to not make that the focus of whatever I'm doing versus the people that are there.
Number 12, bring back doing nothing. Today's kids are really outraged by the idea of having nothing to do. It's okay to be bored. Life doesn't always offer you on-demand entertainment, even though it feels pretty close at this point. There's something to gain from figuring out how to pass the time yourself.
Man, BuzzFeed, what happened to you?
High fives all around.
No.
That's why I say in the car, there's a million devices that you can have in your hand, or, we have the screens in the back seats of our cars. And unless my husband and I, when we bought the car, said 45 minutes to an hour drive, we'll turn on a movie or something like that if we're going somewhere, especially if we're going somewhere that's going to be particularly boring for the kids.
I get it.
Like, let's go buy a couch. As a kid, you're like, no, let's not. Maybe in that sense, the devices come open. But we've just said this recently. Count the trees. on the way to the
It's
to
funny
the
you
store.
say that because I was going to say, kids, we're going to drive an hour and a half. We're going to go talk to an arborist.
Yes.
And you're going to have to
Trees.
sit there.
And you're going to have to report to the arborist how many trees you saw on the way there.
Yeah.
Count,
Do something.
Charlie, you've got red cars. Jensen, you've got blue cars. See who wins.
Oh, you guys were talking last week about the fact that you would pretend to jump over the lines as you're driving the dotted lines.
Mm-hmm.
I knew there was something in that whole break. I'm like, there's something I do, but I can't remember what it was. And I was driving the other day, and I was thinking about you guys. I'm like, oh, that's what it is. It's that I pretend, still do to this day.
Oh boy.
That when I'm driving, or especially if I'm not driving, because if I'm driving, I might be paying attention a little bit more better to the actual road. But when you're not driving or in your back seat or something, which is rare but does happen, your mind wanders. I pretend somehow that there is a laser shooting out the side of my car, and I hit tap on whatever, like the console or my leg. I tap like I'm shooting that laser out the side.
At what?
It has to miss the dots. So it has to shoot in between the dots.
On the lines on the road?
On the lines on the road.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's really weird, but I don't know it's any more weird than me thinking I have to jump over.
Yeah. Bring the judgment now. I knew I was safe to say it after you guys were jumping over trees.
No, lines.
But you also pretend you're on the tops of trees and jump from tree to tree, right? Or was that a listener that said that?
That was not me.
That was not anybody in this room.
But I might
Never
try.
mind. The laser thing was just a joke. I don't actually do that.
Never mind. It's all a blur. Number 13, retire. Pranking your kids. Some pranking among family is fun and funny, but sometimes people cross a line. To me, those videos where kids open their dream gift only to find the box empty or filled with something they didn't want aren't funny in the same way videos of people scaring their animals aren't funny. It just feels like going out of your way to possibly hurt someone's feelings. That sounds to me like you're talking about the videos of doing this?
Yeah.
If you're doing that, would you do that if there weren't a video? Would you do something deliberately mean to your kid if you didn't get to show everybody?
No.
Probably not.
No, they just do it for the video. So
Well,
I'd have to agree
for the
with
clicks.
that comment, but I disagree with the idea of not pranking your kids.
Love pranking my kids.
Yeah. If you're not doing it for clicks, go for it as much as possible.
Pranking, I enjoy pranking my kids, but you do, I have a strict philosophy on that it has to be done where the kid's going to think it's funny afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I
Absolutely.
don't want to be upsetting my kids with a prank.
Yeah.
That does seem mean. Those do seem mean that
Yeah.
they're listing there. So why would you do that?
We actually have that conversation with the kids amongst them because they will fight and do things to each other, scaring each other, that we're like, okay, hey, that's fine, but would you want them to do that to you? I mean, it's just the golden rule stuff.
Yeah.
Same
And if one of my kids scares one of the other one and they get really upset about it, I'm like, scare them back. I mean, literally, that's my advice to him.
Here's a Jason mask.
But I mean, if somebody's hiding in the room, how did you like that? Would you like it if somebody did that to you? I don't care. I saw the other kid, go get him.
Then do it.
I mean, literally, as long as there's no violence or anything involved, go get him back.
Look out, Molly.
The trouble is, the 5-year-old, he's not going to be able to do much to scare the 8-year-old.
Then you help them.
Okay, I will.
You aid and abet.
Oh, man.
100%. You make them be the decoy to draw somebody in, and then you scare the pants off the kids, and you say, how do you like it? Is that bad? I mean, that
Not
is
now
like
that Annie told me I could do it.
a staple of my parenting. In those harmless things, I think sometimes people need a dose of their own medicine.
I used to prank my mom all the time. One of my favorite things to do was...
Did she get you back?
Oh, yeah, for sure. She got me back with my own joke, and I didn't like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't that she got me. It's that she got me with my joke. But I used to put a rubber band around the sprayer for the
Ooh.
dishes. And so you
That's
would, hey,
my
can you
house. I don't want that happening.
can you go get me a glass of water? Sure. And they would go, and then they'd turn on the thing and just hose themselves down. It was great.
Number 14, bring back being a stickler for manners. Yes. I don't know about you, but nothing ticks me off. Sorry, I'm reading from BuzzFeed. More than a rude adult. And somewhere along the line, if you don't check your child's ruder tendencies, they will ultimately become a rude adult. Nip it in the bud by walking the walk and talking the talk when it comes to being polite and respectful. Like when I was at that one unnamed location in Oakville, and they were treating us like crap, and I was being so nice, but listen, sir. And he's like, I treat everybody like this. I'll never forget that till the day I die. And he literally pointed back to his staff that was standing in there waiting to close. He's like, just ask them. I treat them like this too. Okay, I think we're done here.
Yikes.
I think specifically the manners thing in talking to adults. That's where I really draw the line with my kids, that because we'll be walking through somewhere. We were just walking through a Christmas Village thing last weekend that we did in Bethalto. And an adult would, be walking by and say, "Hey, Merry Christmas. What do you guys want for Christmas?" or whatever. And they're getting to the point where at that age, they used to talk. Now they're at that age where they go, And not that I want them talking to every stranger, but when they're with us, it's good manners to at least address the person.
Respect.
Yes, have respect for the person talking to you.
The only way to command respect is to give respect. And you need to learn that at a young age. Say please, say thank you, address people by their names. Like we talked about yesterday, when someone says thank you, say you're welcome. That is the polite thing to do. My grandmother, who was from Australia, if we wanted to eat a cookie when we were little, we'd have to say, "Please, Grandma, may I have a cookie?" If we said, "Can I have a cookie?" she'd say, "You can."
And then you go get a cookie.
No. She had to
Thanks, Grandma, bye.
You had to say may. You had to say please. You had to address her name. And that was ingrained in us at a young age. And I do that for my kids as well. And a lot, they're not perfect, but my kids do get complimented on being polite. And I appreciate that.
I have complimented Annie's kids, and I will continue to. The first time I ever met Charlie, he called me ma'am. And I was like,
do you want me to correct him to miss? I don't like being called
miss.
ma'am.
Woo,
Yeah,
that was great, and I'll never forget that. I will never forget Charlie's great manners. And I've met all your kids, and they're all very well mannered. So good job, Annie.
Around you.
I was to say, the first time I met Molly, she grabbed my beard.
Yeah, I told her
Not
to do that
cool,
too.
Molly.
I taught her that. Retire. Prefix or suffix names. It's okay, or it's your call to name your kid whatever you please, but there's been an influx of Bray dash, so Bray something, Bricks something, and then ending it in Anna or Den or Lee, like Brayley, Braden, Brayana. You can... And at this point, the combinations are more dull than creative. I am, in my family, a big fan of names that are names. But if
This is a sensitive topic.
if I were a celebrity,
sensitive
if I
topic.
were a celebrity, I would name my kid like French or something like that.
Or Apple.
Why would I name him Apple?
I think that's Gwyneth Paltrow's kid.
Yes, she named her kid Apple.
But if I named my kid Apple, they'd be Apple Fry.
Apple Macintosh.
If I named my kid French, they'd be
Toast.
Fry.
French fry. But yeah, like the kitschy names and the adding unnecessary consonants to the length of your child's name.
Okay, I'll go with that.
And the spellings.
You've
You
got
can
your
do some
kids have weird
crazy
names, but
spellings.
they
My
have
kids do have
reasons.
weird names.
But you have reasons for them, or no, just like them.
We do, but it's kind of a long story as to how we got there. But yeah, there are reasons for the names. They weren't just names we randomly picked because we liked. But the whole adding, like if it could be conveyed in a Y and you put EIGH,
Oh.
I'm ready to retire that.
You're going after Ashley's and Kaylee's. And
There are 30 ways to spell Ashley.
And there are people listening to us who are not happy with that.
No, it's all right. Let us have it on the YouTube channel. 16, bring back focusing on social skills. If you've noticed, kids today are pushing on the academic track a little early, or pushed on the academic track a little early. You're not alone. A lot of focus on early childhood learning has gone from social to intellectual as we try to improve the experience and catch up with other areas of the world in performance metrics we aren't entirely sure mean anything. What we do know is that kids struggle more in social situations than in years past, and we can arm them with the tools to succeed early on. Those young ages in kindergarten and stuff, so much of what you learned is about being together with people. My kindergarten, or now first grader, spent a half a semester completely out of school because of COVID. Thank God the school that they went to came back in 2020 in the fall, and we're back in school, but still even the presence of masks, that was an early on adoption, and then they got rid of them pretty quickly as well. That is a hindrance to that social skill set that is absolutely needed at that age.
No doubt about it. And everybody realizes that now. You have to kind of bury your head in the sand to not have seen what a year and a half, 2 years of that kind of stuff has done to kids.
Number 17, retire. Bad competitive energy. Some of today's kids are pretty aggressively competitive, even when they're told that winning doesn't matter, or when they're told they're better than they are. I added that last sentence. Being competitive at things, I'm a huge advocate for that because I think it pushes you to be stronger and better at things. But when you have those helicopter, bulldozer, lawnmower, whatever parents who are constantly advocating only for what they want for their kids, not necessarily even what's best for their kids, and not in the context of other kids, you have to be like worthy of the competition in order to participate in the competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's how we educate our kids right now. So I agree with that. Number 18, I'm trying to breeze through these because we got to get jet. Number 18, bring back letting kids enjoy their own homes. I don't know about you, but over the years I grew up, I explored every nook and cranny of my childhood home. I even earned a reputation for being able to find anything, anywhere in the house. In a lot of today's homes, people restrict kids from areas in the name of boundaries, but it can send a confusing message about a home belonging to everyone in it. There's restricting things for safety. Otherwise, kids should be able to get to know their space.
Yeah, I'd agree. Other than like,
how many
don't
of the
play with
wings
the water heater.
in your home do you not allow your children in? The West Wing?
Yeah, only the Goldstein wing.
Mm-hmm.
The other wings are fine. But that one, when we added that in 2010, we said no kids allowed.
We should do in the after show podcast the discussion of what's in the Goldstein wing. I think
Sure,
people,
yeah,
I think
that's
it's
fine.
time that
It's
people
mostly
know.
famous busts.
Number 19, retire overpacked schedules. Ooh. When your kids want to do it all, you want to encourage it if you have the means to. That said, you owe it to your kids to give them downtime too. If they're always on the go, they can get used to relaxing and finding the things that bring them peace. I have had to implement in our family of 6 the necessity of saying no. It's difficult.
Mm-hmm. Nothing to add.
Okay.
I just agree.
You just said no to that conversation. Number 20, the last one, bring back simple school lunches. A sunflower butter and jelly sandwich is easy, which parents who are sending lunch need in the morning. But those simple sandwiches aren't just going to bat against sugary snacks anymore. They've got creative, colorful bento boxes to go up against.
Thank you.
Giving parents another unnecessary standard to live up to.
Yes. Katie Wiggins, listen to Annie Frey here, and do not get bento boxes before the beginning
What's
of
a
next
bento
school year.
box?
It's those little boxes. They have all the little compartments in them, and they're too small to fit an actual sandwich.
Isn't that isn't that how Asian students take their lunches to school?
They're Japanese. I think they're Japanese. They're certainly Asian because they usually they're pictured with Asian foods in them usually.
Yeah,
and they're designed for things that we don't usually serve here.
Right, like rice balls.
They're smaller portions, and there's lots of them. But no, a sandwich is fine. Here's a sandwich and a carrot.
In a Ziploc bag.
Yes.
In your tin lunchbox.
Yes.
Go to school.
Go.
Bento box user here.
Oh, it's true. You do have one of those.
I do have one of those.
Does Katie Wiggins make it for you?
She doesn't make bento boxes, just to be clear.
Fill them.
Well,
whatever.
Fill them, maybe.
No.
You make your lunch.
Something I am
I make the
against
lunch.
is the sun butter. No, that reminds me of Michelle Obama.
Anyway, all right. Well, there is 20 things to bring back or to retire from BuzzFeed. And I was going through these and I was going, yes, that's it. Surprising. High five, BuzzFeed. You did something good, and we're happy to share it with folks. We'll share that link to that article. I'll tweet it out right now. Stick around. The results of today's YouTube live chat poll. Do you or will you trade in cryptocurrency? Hannah's going to break down the results of today's poll, which you can go vote in right now and leave a comment by visiting us on our live broadcast on our Annie Frey YouTube channel right now. We'll be back in just a minute.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
If you're like most Americans, you can see things are out of control. Global problems have local consequences, too many of them. And if the next news headline spins us into chaos, you'd better be ready. Grocery store supply chains are only as strong as their weakest link. Don't wait for them to break. Today's the day to secure emergency food for everyone in your family. My Patriot Supply is America's largest preparedness company. Our specially packaged and delicious food stays fresh for up to 25 years in storage. It'll be there when you need it. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and pick up several emergency food kits. There are a dozen different sizes that average over 2,000 calories per day. As we all know, calories equals energy equals survival. And as you'd expect from a true preparedness company, our food kits are in stock and ship quickly. Those who know what's coming are preparing today. Go to mypatriotsupply.com. mypatriotsupply.com.
IGotFloored.com. if you're shopping for flooring, go get floored at igotfloored.com. I want you to understand the model of business that you are going to participate in when you are shopping for flooring at Michael's Flooring Outlet. It's that homegrown, family-owned business that has you at the epicenter of the transaction. Your flooring shopping is something that until you're like, yeah, I think we want to replace some of this flooring in our home or in our business, you're not really probably well-versed in the world of flooring. That's okay, because why would you be until you're going to make that purchase? That's why you need people who understand why you may want the Mohawk Silk brand of carpeting over a different one, why you might be looking at the Techwood Plus line of flooring over a different one. You can walk into Michael's Flooring Outlet and talk to them about your budget, about your project, get an estimate, and they're going to walk you through this whole process so that at the end you're going to feel like a confident, educated buyer of flooring at a place that cares about you. This family-owned business, Michael's Flooring Outlet, in business for almost 30 years now as a St. Louis owned and operated outlet. Go check them out online at igotfloored.com.
Hello, everybody. I'm John Rooney. Do you have an old car that's taking up room in the driveway? Repairs are costly and selling is a hassle? That's why you should donate it to Goodwill. Donating is quick and towing is free. Plus, you get a tax receipt and 4 tickets to a Cardinals game next year, compliments of the St. Louis Cardinals. That's a win-win. For more information or to donate, visit online at mersgoodwill.org. Must mention Cardinals.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service now offers insulation services. Did you know 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated? Increase your energy savings and comfort with better insulation. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 is happy to partner with SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. Your contribution supports St. Louis area families.
You know, at Cardinal Glennon, we don't just work with the children that are patients. It's the whole family, and everyone knows that an entire family and an entire community can be affected by illness.
Text 20357 to give a Christmas gift to the Tree of Hope. That's 20357. Or go to 971talk.com/Cardinal Glennon. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Make way, Moana, it's time you knew.
Well, since Hannah decided to play a Disney song right here, I'm going to quick hit this story, and we're going to follow up on it maybe tomorrow or the next day. There is a lawsuit that has been filed in Delaware against Disney, and the lawsuit centered around Disney's response. I'm reading from DisneyFoodBlog.com. Disney's response to the Florida Parental Rights and Education Bill. It's known as the Don't Say Gay Bill. Disney initially refused to make a statement on the bill when it first came out. Then later, Bob Chapek, the now fired CEO, apologized for not being a, quote, stronger ally in the fight for equal rights, end quote, and made it clear that Disney was opposed to the bill. Disney ultimately made a stronger statement when the bill was passed, indicating that it should not have been passed and that Disney would work towards its repeal. So this has now prompted a lawsuit against it because the lawsuit is basically alleging that let's see here, according to Bloomberg, the lawsuit claims that Disney created, quote, far-reaching financial risks for itself by opposing a Florida law limiting instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity in elementary schools. Simeon, who is the person filing this, claims that by criticizing the bill, Disney, quote, lost control over tax and improvement issues at its Orlando area theme park. And they have demanded that Disney turn over internal records about the decisions made surrounding the company's opposition to the Don't Say Gay Bill, or it is actually the Parental Rights and Education Bill. The lawsuit alleges that the, quote, financial repercussions from Disney's actions and resulting harm to the company and its stockholders have been swift and severe. This is really interesting because the end result of this, if they were to win this, would reveal documents that were inside the company that led to the loss of the Reedy Creek incremental tax district and so on and so forth. So I'm very, very interested to see if this wins, if they're able to get some of those internal communications. Let's go. I'd like to see that.
I would too. It sounds like a shaky lawsuit to me.
I don't think so. It's filed in Delaware, and they are that's very intentional and very purposeful, and they're very used to doing these things.
Delaware has a history of approving these lawsuits.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Okay, so the YouTube poll is asking, do you or will you trade in cryptocurrency? Yes, no, or I don't understand it at all. I'll read the results right now. With over 180 votes, 61% of the people said no, they do not trade in cryptocurrency and they don't have any. 16% say they do, and 24% say that they don't understand it at all.
So wait a second. So that's 15% said yes, or 16?
15% said yes.
And then everybody else says no, or they don't understand it.
Yes.
Okay. That's a very small amount of people.
It is.
Yes. We have some comments coming in. David Archer from YouTube said, about a year ago, I bought $100 in crypto. A couple months later, I was hearing bad stuff about it. So I sold out for about $65. Joe from Facebook says, I voted yes on the crypto poll. I've done it, but I don't understand it at all. I spent $500. It became $9,200, but is now worth $5.82.
Joe, bummer.
So that's
a common story.
Great. G-Wib says he has zero crypto knowledge and he doesn't want to know. Steven from YouTube said, I've been mining crypto for 6 years. That shows about how much I know about crypto.
Wow.
What is mining?
Mining is a different level. If you trade it, that's one thing.
Mining's
if you're
letting
mining
your
it,
computer find it for you so that you just collect it for processing the transactions.
Yeah.
Scooter says, no on the crypto. I know people that have made money with it, but it's riskier than I feel comfortable losing. The buy-in is expensive. Rob from YouTube said, I actually mined my Bitcoin several years back and only purchased a few hundred in other coins. I recouped my expenses, so everything is in profit now. Mr. Brownhill said, I bought a small amount, but after finding out the data mining for crypto uses 1% of the total energy used worldwide, seemed unethical to me, so I sold right there and then.
That's what I think, Mr. Brownhill.
That's why we don't do it, too.
My vote, I don't know anything about it at all. And I understand it's going to be a big deal, big topic of conversation coming soon to a newscast near you. Stick around. The Mark Reardon Show is going to be here right after we get done with a quick little break. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to St. Louis's home for Conservative Talk, 97.1 FM Talk.
This holiday season, Diamonds Direct gives you the gift of 0%